What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We got a busy show. Myles Garrett trade rumors back in the headlines. We're going to take your questions. We got some draft talk. Lots to get into on this Sweet 16 Thursday. Excited about that as well. So thanks to everybody for being here. Got almost 300 people rocking and rolling with us already. A lot of you guys are waiting in the chat. So we appreciate you guys spending part of your day with us. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from as always. Colin, it's also opening day in baseball. I haven't checked the Cubbies recently, but wasn't going so well earlier. So let's get a little update on that. Looks like White Sox too. Jesus, 14-1 Brewers in the 8th. So that's an 0-1 start. And then the Cubs
8-4 down to the Nationals.
Down 8-4 to Washington. So
top of the ninth.
Not a good start for the Windy City teams, but baseball is back. Lots going on in the sports world.
Let us know down below what fan you are rooting for in terms of Major League Baseball, whether it's the Cubs, White Sox, or whomever. Claim your fandom today.
There you go.
Let us know. Yeah, it's March is, in terms of sports months, if you had to rank them, March is certainly up there.
It's got to be like one of the best. I mean, as much of a football
October's up there for sure too, because you'll have like the World Series, you'll have football.
Yeah, April's a great month too because you get the Final Four into April.
Yes.
The Masters is in April. Baseball is like fully going, and then NBA and hockey playoffs get started in April. I'd say that's a really good month.
April, October, because October you get
April's probably my favorite non-football season month. Because like for me, I'm such a football junkie. Like all the football months, I would still put ahead of the other ones. But I think when football is not in season, April's got the draft as well, the NFL draft, which is obviously awesome. So I would say April's my favorite non-football season month of the year. But yeah, you guys let me know best sports month of the year.
We're just asking you guys a bunch of questions.
Yeah, just light up the chat. Kid is saying go Cubs go.
A lot
cool
of Cubs.
Nerd, White Sox. RXOY is rolling with the Cubs. We got Los going to White Sox. So is Andres. Cardinals from GBG.
You also do get the NFL draft in April, as someone pointed out.
I said that to you.
Okay.
Might have in one ear, out the other.
Read the chat.
Let's see. What's going on? Appreciate everybody being here.
I see someone saying Cardinals. How do we feel about that, Cardinals fan? Because I know that's a big rivalry in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely got Bears fans in that region. So same division as the Cubs. So not surprising.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah, we might as well.
I think people are wanting to hear about this. This is a Bears show after all, but we appreciate y'all getting involved. Would you guys trade 3 first-round picks, it is our poll question here in the live chat, for Myles Garrett? If you're kind of sitting there wondering, Harry, Cullen, why are you guys asking us this question? The Browns aren't going to trade Myles Garrett. Well,
they could.
They could, based on the reworked kind of contract maneuver by the Cleveland Browns that essentially pushed some money that was set to be paid to Myles Garrett to week 1, I believe, right? It was like around the date, or it was like right before week 1?
It's like a week before the season opener, I think. So it's like early September.
So because of that, again, it had no benefit to Myles Garrett or really the Cleveland Browns in terms of the move for just them and their relationship with Myles Garrett. But it did raise some questions in terms of would they potentially be open to trading Myles Garrett. So there's so many layers of this that we're going to kind of discuss throughout today's show. We're obviously going to break it down in a segment, but we want to hear y'all's thoughts. 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett, yes or no? Let us know in the live chat. Right now, it's 61% saying no.
A lot of no's in the chat, but the poll is 60-40 essentially. Still no in favor, which, listen, I get it. 3 ones is a lot. To Scott saying 3 firsts, you are on crack. It's not like I came up with this. Like, people in NFL circles think that's what it's cost. We just saw Crosby go for that was going to go for 2-1s, including a top 15 pick. Myles Garrett, yes, he's 1 year older than Max Crosby. He's been way more durable, and I love Max Crosby. Myles Garrett is on a different planet. Like, Myles Garrett is already a first ballot Hall of Famer. Crosby has a chance to become a Hall of Famer, but he's not there yet. Like, he's just not. This guy just set the sack record. So, look, I'm not saying I would just for sure give up 3 firsts, but like that's probably what it would take, and I think that's why the Browns made this maneuver, because the trade market, it's a strong seller's market. We've seen that. I mean, Jalen Waddle, who's never even been a full-time number 1 receiver, just went for a first and a third. So DJ Moore, who we all like, went for a second. I know the Bills got a 5th back, but we thought that was going to be like he's going to go for a 4th, and the Bears might eat some money, and neither of those happened. So this is a pretty strong seller's market. So I could see the Browns getting 3-1s. You don't think if Howie Roseman gets a first for A.J. Brown, he would flip that first plus 2 more for Myles Garrett? I do. I think the Rams would heavily consider it. Look, maybe it ends up being like 2 firsts and 2 day 2 picks, or 2 1s, a day 2 pick and a player, or something like that. But like Micah Parsons went for 2 firsts and a player, and I get it, he's younger, but like he's not Myles Garrett. Yeah. And look, he's 30, so there's things to consider, but he's been very durable. And I view Myles Garrett as a guy that will age pretty well, whereas with Crosby, I do think there are legitimate concerns with the injuries he's had, the amount of surgeries he's had, which is why I was never going to trade 2 1s for Max. I was like, I'll do a 1 and a 3, something like that. I think I can get 3 really good years out of him, maybe 2 more good years. With Garrett, I think you can get 3 or 4 elite years and 2 to 3 more still really good years. Like, I think at 35, 36 years old, he's still going to be a pretty impactful player. Now, I can't predict the future, but just his genetics, the way he keeps in shape, his durability over the course of his career, like I think that's a guy in his mid-30s that's still an excellent player. Again, I'm not sitting here saying I'd for sure trade 3 1s, but that might be what it takes, which is why we're asking what you guys would do. So I saw someone earlier in the chat say, if you believe in Caleb Williams, send it. And it's like, that's kind of what this comes down to, right? Like, if you're full steam ahead, Caleb's the guy. I think you at least have to sniff around on this. We know they sniffed around on Max Crosby. If they think Myles Garrett is an upgrade over Crosby, what would they offer? They wouldn't go 2 1s for Max. I think they'd go 2 1s for Myles. I don't think they'd go 3. But I do think a team out there might.
They did ask about Myles Garrett at the trade deadline. Now, of course, that was one of those where they probably knew in the back of their heads, like, hey, Cleveland's probably not going to move on. But they did ask. Hey.
Yeah, Schefter quietly, it was under the radar. He was on WGN TV. We'll talk about this later. Said that when the Bears traded for Browns edge Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, they asked about Myles Garrett. Now, was it like a negotiation, or was it just like, hey, just curious, is Myles available? And apparently it was a quick no, but they did ask. Like, Poles has been pretty open. He was like, yeah, we had some interaction with the Raiders on Max. Like, so we know they've been sniffing around for these big name guys. I would guess a call has at least happened. Now, whether or not there's been any discourse, I don't know. But
sure,
I would guess that the Bears have called to see what a trade would look like. And I'm sure the price is really high because you're talking about one of the best defensive players of the 21st century. So
certainly of our lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk about it later, but to me, he's one of the 3 best defensive linemen I've watched, post early 2000s. I think it's him, Aaron Donald, and J.J. Watt. Pick your order, pick your poison. They're all a little bit different, but I think that's a clear top 3. Trying to think of, like, who else would, I think there's a drop-off before you get to, like, the T.J. Watts of the world. Like I know some Bears fans will be like, Khalil Mack, love Khalil Mack, not Myles Garrett. Like,
yeah. I mean, those 3 are on their own tier. I mean, I still have nightmares about Aaron Donald. So,
he might be the most unique defensive player of all time because he was a defensive tackle that played at like 270 and he just dominated. So
benches 500 pounds like it's nothing. Like, hey, he was unbelievable. And again, all 3 of them were Myles Garrett, JJ, and Aaron Donald. So. Once you have like a generational elite talent like that, and he potentially becomes available, if you don't, you're not doing your job if you don't at least, pick up the phone and just say, hey, what's it going to take here?
Daniel in the chat calling me Mr. Clickbait. It's the biggest story in the NFL. Doesn't mean the Bears are going to trade for, but Schefter's getting asked about it on shows. Other shows, both NFL Network, ESPN, they're discussing it. The cap gurus are saying the only reason you do this is to stay flexible for a potential trade. But yeah, I'm clickbaiting. Okay. I never said the Bears are going to trade for him, but we're going to explore that because it's the biggest story in the NFL, and the Bears need an edge rusher, and they asked about this guy 3 months ago at the trade deadline, 4 months ago. They just were involved in the Max Crosby sweepstakes. I don't see how that's clickbait. All right, let's get to some super chats. Alex, do it polls.
Do it.
I don't think they do 3-1s. What's your Ryan Poles? What's your strongest offer?
If I'm running the Bears and I am trying to attempt to trade for Myles Garrett, I'm going to sit there, offer him 2027, 2028. I'll offer them a second, and then
second this year since you got 2.
Yeah, you could probably a second this year, and then add on whatever else. If you want another day 2 pick, if you want a player, you want to add something along to that. That's what I would probably do in terms of like my final, like, hey, this is about as much as I'd be willing to give up.
I tried to do it without giving up 3-1s.
Yeah.
Like if you could do, and we'll get into why. I think Cleveland wants first-round picks in 2027 and beyond. They proposed that rule that they want to be able to trade picks into the next 5 drafts. They already have 2-1s this year. So if you could trade your 27 and 28 one, give up one of your 2s this year since you have 2 of them, and then, to your point, maybe a third next year or a player or something like that.
I would attach something. Like, I'm not giving up 3 firsts for really anybody outside of quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
I just can't.
2-1s, Jervon, Dexter, and a second.
Anthony says, that guy had no idea what he was talking about. Which one?
Which guy, Anthony? You talking to someone in the chat? Me? Someone else? Wasim. He says, no way trading 3-1s. Look, I get that. I'd be hesitant too, and this is for one of the greatest defensive players of all time who's still in his prime. So, like, I understand that because, look, it's the ultimate. You do that, you better win a Super Bowl. Anything short of that, it wasn't worth it.
Right.
Whereas if you trade 2-1s at a player and, you're consistently at least, like, it's still like your attitude is Super Bowl or bust, but like if you're going to like, NFC championship games, multiple and stuff like that, it's like, okay, like I can live with that. If you trade 3-1s and you don't win a bowl, it's kind of, you lost the trade, I would say. When you trade that much capital, it better result in a Lombardi. Alex Ammerling, breaking the White Sox have been eliminated from playoff contention. Will the White Sox get above 500 this season? They're 0-1. Their best chance is to do it quick, I would say. Yeah. They should be improved. They're finally spending some, but they're still multiple years away from being competitive.
I think that they can't be as bad as they were last year.
Well, last year they were actually, 2 years ago was when they had like the worst season ever.
That's what I'm saying, but they've like kind of been progressing since then. So I think they're continuing to trend up.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll be.
Let me look. Their records by year. So 2 years ago when they had that brutal season, they were 41-121. This year they were 60-102. I think it's like
year?
Yeah, this past year they were 2005. They were 60-102. I think it's like, can you win 70 games? Like if you won 70 games,
sure,
that would be another nice step.
Yeah,
not a good start today though. But the Brewers are good. Big fella, 3 firsts for Myles if you believe Caleb is the guy. Big investment, but. Yeah, I mean, I think if you do think Caleb's the guy, you're at least you're starting a dialogue. I mean, that's you're at least getting the Browns on the phone and seeing what's what. Anthony, screw the Cubs, go Dodgers 3P. We got a Dodgers fan in the chat. Oh, life's pretty over there. They just they don't care about how much it costs. They're trying to buy these titles, and hey, it's working. They've won the last 2. Jose, I said I think the Browns made the draft proposal so they can get 3 ones for a reason. If I'm the Bears, I'd rather have Myles Garrett than Max for 2 ones. Yeah, if I, in a vacuum, would I rather have Myles giving up 3 ones or Max giving up 2? I think I'd say Myles. I don't know if I'd do either. I for sure wouldn't do Max. I've made that clear. And I love Max, but I'm not giving up 2 ones with how banged up he's been. Again, I'd give up a first and a day 2 pick. We've been over that. If I had gun to my head, I'd choose one of those, though. I think if I'm just going to go all in, let's go all the way in. Let's give up the extra one. Let's get the best defensive player in the league at a position of weakness on this roster. So, and look, maybe you get him, it costs 3 ones, but maybe in a strong seller's market, maybe you can flip Montez Sweat for like a day 2 pick and recoup some of that capital. So I think there's ways to recover some draft capital, but yeah, I mean it would be a lot. There's no question. Doodle Bob, not 3 firsts, 2 firsts and 2 seconds, 100%. It's almost the same. I mean, now if you did your 2 seconds this year, those are both late seconds. So I don't think in that scenario they would do 2 twos this year because I think they'd want to keep one of those 2s to, they do need a safety. Like that is one position they still have to add. But I did see on Twitter people were like, they have too many holes on defense. Well, if you get Myles Garrett, as long as you could still find another safety, which I think you would still have between your 2 seconds and a 3rd round pick, at least one, if not 2 of those. If you can use one of those picks on a safety, maybe you sign someone after the draft, a cheap vet to compete or at least be insurance there. Like, Myles Garrett solves a lot of problems. Like he solves a fucking lot of problems. I think your linebacker room, if you go into this season with what you currently have at linebacker, I think that's a good enough group. If you go into this season with the corners you have, maybe you sign or a day 3 pick for a rotate, like a depth piece, I think you can live with that group because if you have Myles Garrett, you're getting a lot more pressure a lot more often on the quarterback, and that helps everybody out. So, remember when Ryan Poles called Montez Sweat a multiplier? That's actually what Myles Garrett is, the ultimate multiplier.
Yes.
Like this guy makes everybody better, and he covers up for a lot of weaknesses. Like I don't think it's crazy to say if your current core at a starting level safety, if you just add Myles Garrett and nothing else changes other than adding just a league average safety, I think you could be a top 10 defense like that. I really do. Like, I think he changes that much.
Like, if
Sweat is your second guy,
yeah,
Booker's your third for NASCAR packages, you got more speed in your back 7 now, I think all of a sudden Dexter, Jarrett, and your rotation detect, that at least feels serviceable with your edge group. Like, it just changes so much.
Like, imagine if the Bears, just for hypothetical sake, let's just say I'm just going to lay out a draft possibility for you. Let's say first round, they go Zion Young or an edge at that position, whether it's Akeem Mesidor, Zion Young, TJ Parker, Keldrick Falk, one of those guys, right? Whichever one the Bears believe in the most. Second round, they go, best safety available. Let's just say it's either A.J. Halsey, Kamari Ramsey, right? That's 2 of those guys. Second round pick, they go defensive tackle. Whichever defensive tackle, like maybe it's Grayson Holton, maybe it's the Benny guy from Michigan. There's a bunch of different options they go on day 2, and then 3rd round they go center. 4th, day 3 they do what they do. You add that draft class to this Bears kind of offense and defense, and then make the trade for Myles Garrett, because then imagine Zion Young is your 3rd, Montez Sweat, Myles Garrett. And let's just say
you're not having all of that in all likelihood, plus Myles, unless the trade is after the draft, which
that's what I'm saying. It could be after the draft.
I will say, if I'm the Bears, I probably would want to do it before the draft, because if you do it after the draft, then you're like your next year draft is probably pretty much decimated. Whereas this year you have 2 twos, so it's like, okay, send one of those. Send your next 2 ones after this year, and then like a day 2 pick next year. But I get your point. Like if you did it like that, then you're pretty deep at a lot of positions. So we'll see. I would
also
bet against
it. Also motivated Dio Adangbo too. Forgot to mention his name.
Motivated Dio, he'd be in the mix.
He'd be in the mix.
Top 30 visit for Zion Young, by the way, that was reported today. We'll have a top 30 tracker video over the weekend, so be on the lookout for that. Wasim F. Jerry Ryan's dick. Remember when he said organizations win championships, still waiting on the Bulls, and the Sox suck? Yeah, he's one of the more hated men in Chicago, I would say, these days. It's not gone well for the teams he's running, but that's
Oh no.
What's up?
I don't know what just got sent in chit chat, but it does not look good.
Oh boy.
Sorry, work stuff. Yeah. It's I'll watch that later. Yeah, no, listen, he's gosh dang it, dude. Just try not to do that for one live show, but
we got 20 minutes in or so.
Yeah. We'll take it. Yeah, Reinsdorf stinks. There's just no other way. He stinks.
Bad owner.
Bad owner.
I'm also in the camp. I don't think, and look, I don't know how you enforce this. I'm not a fan of the same person being the primary owner of multiple teams. It's too much work. I don't think you can put your full attention into either organization. So that's a different conversation for a different day. Anthony, top 3 of your lifetime. Did you forget about Leonard Floyd and motivated Dots? Listen, they were close. I was like J.J. Watt, coming off the Achilles, motivated Dio Adengbo. Listen, it was tough. I had to weigh out the pros and cons. Yeah, it's splitting hairs. I mean, Leonard Floyd. Listen, the guy who became a better player after he left Chicago. It's a tough call. Tough call. Alex, I mean, if we get Garrett with the secondary buffs we have this season, this legitimately feels like we could take the Lombardi of Caleb for real. If Caleb Williams took an equal caliber step that he took from year 1 to year 2 and was still the clutch big game player that he's shown he can be in his first 2 years, you add Garrett to that and just a starting caliber safety next to Kobe Bryant, assuming your health is relatively good next year, you're telling me that team can't compete with the best in the NFC? The Rams and the Seahawks are still going to be very good, but you were right there with the Rams last year, and you couldn't get to the quarterback. This Myles Garrett on the Bears makes you think you can win a Super Bowl. That's what you're envisioning if you make that move. So it's tempting, man. It's risky, but this is you start to become this team that enters this win now window. These are the things you have to start to weigh when you're Ryan Poles. So, if the offer's too big, the offer's too big. But if it's not, if it's something you're comfortable with, you got to heavily consider that. All right, we got Jay Aguilar, 3 firsts and my grandmother. Whoa. Mrs. Aguilar is not for sale. We're not sending Jay's grandma to the Cleveland Browns. That would just be rude. All right, Braden, 3 firsts, give Dio, and get a second or third or a player. So get a player in addition to Myles. I think if it's 3 firsts and Dio and maybe you get a middle round pick back or something like that. I don't think it'd be a second, maybe a third or fourth. Because Dio's a negative asset right now. Big contract coming off a torn Achilles. So that's more of the Browns would be doing you a favor. Andres, Cleveland gives us 2 firsts and Myles for a motivated Dio. Get it done. Jose, the Rams say F them picks and won a Super Bowl. Why not us? I think the Bears are at least NFC Championship team. Ones are 50-50 hit rate. That's the thing, too, about I can't trade 3 ones. Well, if the Bears are going where we think they could be going, those picks are in the 20s. Don't get me wrong. They're still extremely valuable picks, but who are the guys we're talking about the Bears potentially drafting this year at edge in round 1? Zion Young, who I like, but he's never going to sniff Myles Garrett. And you might say, well, but Zion Young and 2 more firsts. It's okay. We don't even know where they're going to be picking next year, who's going to be available. I don't know, man. It's just and I get Myles Garrett is 30, and if he was 27, it's a different conversation. But I think Myles at 30 ages better than Max at 29. and I know he's going to cost more than max, but like I would, if I'm going to take that risk, I'd rather take it with Myles Garrett. It's Coda, Darnell Wright, and a first for Garrett, then draft O-line. It's an interesting idea. This might sound crazy. If it was literally just that, I'd probably do it. And I love Darnell Wright, but just one first in Darnell. Now the problem is you don't know. Like for this year, then you need 2 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically banking on Braxton Jones to be your left tackle. Like that could impact Caleb Williams taking the next step. So it is risky, but it's an interesting idea. I'll throw another one at you. And by the way, I don't think that would get it done for what it's worth.
No.
Like if I'm Cleveland, I'd say, yeah, throw another one on there. We can. Like 2 1s and Darnell Wright's a great offer. Like if I'm the Browns, I might actually do that.
Right.
Because they need offensive tackles. They need more of a left tackle, but maybe they think Darnell could flip over. I don't know. Would you do 2 1s in Rome straight up for Myles Garrett? Nothing else. 2 1s
in Rome.
Rome, in a vacuum, Rome is probably worth, in this trade market right now, I think you're getting at least a 2. I mean, DJ.
I was going to say he
might get a 1.
Yeah, so that's essentially trading 3 1s, essentially, in terms of value.
Probably
I don't know. I still think Rome Odunze has a chance to become.
Yeah, I think he could be an awesome player. I don't think I would do that. I'm just throwing out the idea.
Yeah, I don't think I would, personally.
Would you do a 1 and a 2 in Rome? First rounder next year, 57 this year, Rome Odunze.
That I'd be more willing to
entertain.
Yeah. Because at that point, I mean, depending on where you value Rome, like let's say, I mean, Cleveland obviously needs a receiver.
I mean, you still have the 25th pick. You could take a receiver there. You could take a receiver at 60. You could. Again, I'm a big believer in Rome. Like I think he's going to be a big piece in this offense moving forward, but Cleveland needs receivers bad. And like that's Rome Odunze is instantly their best weapon. It's not even close in Cleveland.
Instantly.
There's a world he's your third weapon here.
Yeah.
Colston and Luther?
Could be.
Like I'm not trading Luther Burden or Colston Loveland. I'm probably not trading Rome, but like if Cleveland's asking out of those 3 players, that's the one player that I would at least like listen to an offer on. I don't know. Sam, start one, bench one, cut one, and launch one into outer space. Prime J.J. Watt, prime Khalil Mack, prime Myles Garrett, motivated Dio Adingbo. I'm starting Myles Garrett. I would.
First off, no Josh Dobbs in this question?
Yeah, no. Yeah, Sam, Josh Dobbs got cut. He's available. Should the Bears sign him? I like Zion Young. I just don't think he's ever going to sniff Myles Garrett. That's all. I can't cut Khalil Mack out of principle, so I guess I'll cut J.J. Watt since I'm starting Myles over him anyway. I'll launch Dio Adingbo into the sun, even the motivated version, and I guess I'll cut J.J. Watt. I think Myles Garrett and J.J. Watt at their peaks probably very similar, but Myles' longevity, I think, clears him. I think he clears. Keep rolling through here. Overprime JJ. Creighton, if it's one season, maybe I go JJ Watt. But if it's in general, I think I'd go Myles because of the longevity. I would go TJ Watt over JJ. I don't know if I can go that far. And I like TJ Watt, but JJ was something different. Jarek, off topic, but what would you think about bringing in OBJ as wide receiver 3, be a veteran for receivers? I think he's a perfect DJ replacement for the number 3 spot. Well, Odell Beckham Jr. didn't even play last year.
I mean, when he played in 2024, he had, not even 60 yards?
For the Dolphins? Did he play that little? Oh, wow.
I think he had, 60-something targets or 50-something targets.
And he had 60 yards on 50 targets?
All right, something like that. It was something stupid where he had like a decent amount of targets. He just could not produce.
Let's see. He had
2024.
He had 9 catches on 18 targets for 55 yards.
18 targets, excuse me.
The year before, 35 catches for 565 with the Ravens. Yeah, I think, like, I'd be surprised if they brought him in. Also, like, if you brought him in, like, I don't think you just assume he's your 3. I think he's, like, fighting for a roster spot. And, look, if he turns back the clock and earns the 3 job, great. But, A, I don't think they'd sign him. And, B, I think that's a big assumption to think he would just be your number 3 guy when the last time he was a 3 was in 2023 at the Ravens, and I would say he was like a low-end 3 that year.
People just watched that flag football game and lost their effing minds. It's ridiculous.
Listen, if I was a team that was thin at receiver and vet minimum deal, bring him into camp, fight for a roster spot, great. Like, if the Bears want to do that, vet minimum, no guarantee, that's cool. Like, worst case, you cut him. But I don't think you're signing him thinking he's going to be a needle mover. If he shocks you, great. But that's more of like, hey, we're thin at this position. It's not going to cost us any money. Let's see if we can, catch lightning in a bottle here. But I don't think you're really expecting much. So, yeah. Appreciate the super chat, Jared.
He technically sent in 2, so I'm just showing it. He apologizes. He's like, yeah, I actually sent 2. But they're the same thing. But I just wanted to show.
We got you, Jarek. Appreciate the 10. Isaac, I wouldn't give up 3 firsts for Garrett. He's my favorite defensive player, but what if he got a Micah injury? Yeah, we were debating this in the office too. What if they get hurt? Well, then why ever make any trade, right? I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? There's risk in everything. That's like scumbag move or not. It's why Baltimore backed out, even though they knew about Max's medical injury. They were probably like, what if he gets hurt? Micah Parsons, like, you just – if you're worried about that, then you should never make a big trade, right? Like, there's always risk involved. This is tackle football. Like, these guys can get hurt. I will say this: Myles Garrett has a really strong history of durability. He's missed 5 total games in the last 6 years. For a trenches player, that's pretty stout. And he plays in a cold, physical division. Like, there's a lot of wear and tear in theory playing in the AFC North, and that guy takes care of his body about as good as anybody I've ever seen.
He's got Calais Campbell level of longevity potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, like, I think there's a world where he's 35, 36 years old, and he's not the best in the world anymore, but he's still probably, like, top 10. Like, I think he's a guy that – how many career sacks does he have?
For Myles Garrett, he's –
let's see.
I feel like he's definitely in the triple digits.
Oh, yes. I just don't know if it's like 125 or if it's like 140. Let me see. My computer's being slow. Let me see. He's played 9 seasons. As my thing loads up, it won't let me scroll down, unfortunately. Reference being slow. Okay, here we go. 9 seasons, he has 125.5 sacks. I mean, I'd be surprised if he didn't hit 200 sacks. 75 sacks, let's say he averages – I mean, even if he just averages 10 a year.
Right.
That's – let's call it 10 and a half a year.
Mm-hmm.
7 seasons? I think he's playing 7 more years.
I could see it.
Like, and by the way, he'll probably average between like 13 and 16 for the next 2 to 4 years. And so let's say he does that, then he probably dips to 10 for a couple. Then maybe he's kind of in this like Calais Campbell, these late career, like where it's like, 5 to 8, but he could probably do that for fucking 5 years. like I just don't see a guy slowing down.
Yeah. So I'll ask this in the chat. Feel free to type in yes or no. Would you guys in the chat give up 3 first-round picks for a non-quarterback in the National Football League? Because I think that's like the big, 3 first-round picks. I mean, that's a lot to give up for a positional player.
It's a lot for, it's a lot for a quarterback.
It's a lot for a quarterback too, but would you guys in any circumstance, because Myles Garrett's probably he might be the one in terms of.
The only other one, and we talked about this in the office earlier, is Will Anderson Jr., not because he's Myles level, but he's like 24 and he's a top 5 or 6 edge rusher. So, like, that would be a guy maybe you'd consider it because you might have him for like 12 years. But someone playing piano out there? I think this is on. I think that's on the TV.
I will turn that off. But yeah, y'all let us know. I'm seeing a little bit of mixed. Yeah, I'll turn that off. I don't know what. Oh,
Unless you're 100% sure you're winning the Super Bowl, you wouldn't trade for him. Well, no one's 100% sure. The Dodgers aren't 100% winning the World Series, but they're the clear favorite. Nothing's guaranteed. There's 32 teams. Like, to your point, though, like, if you make that move, clearly, like, you're doing it to like, you're going all in to win a Super Bowl.
For the record, I wouldn't. There's not a single non-quarterback that I would give up 3 first-round picks for.
If Myles Garrett was 27,
I'm just curious to know what y'all thought. Because it is a conversation in terms of, and Harry's outlined it pretty much throughout this entire time we've been live, Max Crosby got 2 first-round picks. Now, ultimately, the trade did not end up going through fully. If Max Crosby's getting 2 first-round picks, Myles Garrett's getting more than what Max Crosby's getting worth.
Yeah.
So then it becomes the question, do you give up 3? I wouldn't.
Kind of like with Max, like where I wasn't willing to go to 2. I probably would not go up to 3 unless I'm getting something back.
Yeah.
Because I think Myles is worth about 1 first-round pick extra than Max. And so if I was willing to offer a first and a day 2 pick for Max, I'd probably be willing to offer 2 firsts and a day 2 pick for Myles. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd give my 2027 and 2028 first-round picks and one of my seconds this year for Myles. I might even throw in a player. And that's about as far as I can go.
So the difference between Max and Myles for you
is about 1 first-round pick.
But you're still not getting up to the 3 total because you never would have given up 2 for Max in the first place.
I think the biggest offer I made for Max was
a first, a second.
For a while, it was a first, a third, and DJ, which basically was a first and 2/3 when you add up the DJ trade because you got a late second back, sent out a 5th. That's basically a third. So basically a first and 2/3, which I still say is a good fucking offer, by the way.
Yeah.
And then I think at one point I may have gone up to a first and a second, but I was never going 2 1s. I was never doing 2 1s. So I'm kind of in the same boat. Like 2 1s, especially if Cleveland doesn't want a 2026 first, which there's a lot of reason to believe that would be the case. So you could still keep your first this year, and that allows you to help you this year as well. Take one of your second-round picks this year, send your next 2 first, 27 and 28, and then I'd maybe offer a sweetener if it came up to it. Like, hey, if you want Tyreek Stevenson or Austin Booker, if it's Booker, then maybe that second's more of a third. Because I think between him, Dexter, Javon Dexter, and Stevenson, I'd want to keep Booker the most, but I'd be open to moving him in this deal because you're getting an edge rusher, obviously. If they want Montez Sweat, even better, but I don't think Cleveland in this scenario wants to take on a $25 million, 29-year-old edge rusher. I think they'd want a young asset or a draft pick. So that's about as far as I would go.
Wasim says F. Jerry Krause 2, or goes to, if you do this trade, you are taking safety with one of the second-round picks. Hell no to trading Rome.
Yeah, I mean, I think let's just say they did the trade. I was just saying, let's just say 2 1s in 27 and 28, one of your seconds this year, and let's just say instead of a player, a 3rd-round pick next year. So 2 1s, second this year, 3rd next year, which is, I think, a huge fucking offer. You still have the 25th pick this year and 60 this year. So if Thieneman or McNeil Warren's there at 25, because in this scenario, you may have to force need a little bit. Like, you still want to go BPA, but in this scenario, you have to plug safety somewhere. So if EMW or Thieneman's there in round 1, I think that's an automatic trigger pull. And then if not, it's 60. You probably take best safety available, unless it's just a run on safeties went and it just does not make any sense whatsoever. Then maybe you wait for the 89 cluster, or maybe you trade back or something like that. But, yeah, it would force you to be a little draft needy for a safety. But I think in this scenario, that would be understandable because you got Myles Garrett. So that would be that situation. Andres, start, bench cut, Sunday football foods, chicken wings, pizza, sliders.
You want to answer this at the same time? We'll count down 3, 2, 1. We just say the answer.
How about at one? We'll do one at a time. So let's do starter first, okay?
Okay.
Who are you keeping essentially? So 3, 2, 1. Pizza.
Chicken wings. Really?
I go back and forth. I think pizza is consistently a hit. I do love wings though. All right, so bench.
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Sliders.
Chicken wings, and then I'll cut sliders.
And I'm cutting pizza.
So we went different across the board.
We really did.
I like all three though.
All three are good. The thing is with, especially with football, like wings are the go-to. Love getting some wings, just watching college football, NFL, whatever the case may be. And sliders just feel like a football snack.
Yeah.
They just do. Pizza is something that's so well-rounded it can be used in different areas. So I'm like okay not eating it on football Sunday, and I can eat it other times.
I hear you. That's so true. Like to your point, like random Tuesday night, I'm probably not getting wings very often, but pizza is like sure,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah, that is probably the difference. That's a good point. That might make me rethink things. Appreciate all the super chats, guys. Will Williams, keep it rolling here. We will get into some segments eventually. He says, if TJ Parker cashes Hal, which I don't think is a Bears option based on the prototype, and Zion Young are on the board at 25, who do you like? I think Young has emerged from that group. I'd probably go Young, Parker, Hal. In a vacuum, I actually I might like Hal a little better than Parker overall, but he does not defend the run at all. Now, I want pass rushers, but I don't think you can play him on base downs, at least not as a rookie in this scheme. So you're basically drafting a third down pass rusher in the first round. I don't think that's suitable for this team right now. So especially when you already have Austin Booker. So I'd go ideally out of those three. Like I'd be comfortable with Young at 25, and otherwise I'd like to trade down. I'd be okay with Parker, but I don't love him overall. Like I like him more as like an early day 2 pick. But we'll see. He had a pretty good Senior Bowl. Isaac Glass, I'm cool with 2 firsts and some player or mid-round. 2 1s. Yeah, I just think even though he's older, I think he probably fetches more than Micah. Now, maybe the age he doesn't, but I think he's getting like 2 firsts and a player. That's the Micah trade. I know he's older, but like you're also talking about a higher level caliber player. And listen, not all trade markets are equal. This is a hot seller's market. Like teams are having to pay a premium to trade for good players. We've seen it for 2 months. So I think if it's not 3 1s, I think it's 2 1s and multiple day 2 level assets, whether that's a day 2 pick and a player or 2 day 2 picks. I think that's probably what you're looking at. Could be wrong, but that would be my guess. Which, by the way, if I'm the Browns, I get it. This guy's an all-time player, but like, shit, his value's never going to be higher, given his age, given the season he just came off of, given how strong this seller's market is. Like, if I could get something in that ballpark, like, man, it's hard to move on from a player like that, but that's pretty appealing if I'm trying to fast-track a rebuild. Trade Talk Sports Chicago. Have you guys saw my cousin George Combine? I feel like he had a great day. George who, Trade Talk? Who's your
cousin?
George. Let me pull up the old simulator and search of George and see if anyone pops up. Let's see. Is he following up in the chat?
I'm looking.
Let's see. My computer's being really slow right now. It's super annoying.
Shout out to YouTube also for being just a pain in the butt recently.
Oh, it's been brutal. It's been brutal.
Trade Talk Sport. Yeah, if you want to follow up in the chat, I'm looking back right now. I'm not seeing anything.
Simulator is loading, but it's...
Oh, George Gums Jr. from Florida.
I haven't looked into him much.
Let me see.
Simulator is going fast turbo, but it's like if you put the slider at the slowest possible. Absolutely tragic how slow this is.
I haven't done a full breakdown of George Gums. He is a defensive end out of the University of Florida. Let's see.
Yeah, PFF basically, based on their big board, has him as like a 6th-round pick, but the day 3 guys are pretty wide-ranging.
6'4", 245 is what he measured in at the combine. 33 and 5/8 inch arms. So he's a little lighter than Dennis Allen would
A
normally
little light,
like.
but if you're talking day 3, beggars can't be choosers. That's not tiny. I mean, 6'4", still 33-inch arms. You can add some weight to that frame.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, good speed.
41-inch vert, not like our boy from Baylor.
Oh, brutal. Athletic. His pass rush win rate, not great, 7.8%. Run stop rate, really good, though, 8.3%. So it looks like a run stopper first based on some of the advanced metrics. But, yeah, I mean, day 3, decent size, athletic.
Lance Zierlein believes he has an eventual starter ceiling.
Okay.
With an average backup floor. Just traits mentality make him worthy of a day 3 pick. Again, that's one draft analyst, but
yeah, I mean he's got a lot of the physical attributes.
And he's from Chicago, Illinois.
Oh. All right, I'll look into this cat more. Appreciate you passing that along. Appreciate that. Tested well. Rooting for him. Alex Todd, how much does Garrett crush our cap? This year, any guesses in the chat what his cap hit would be for any team that trades for him in 2026?
I'll be honest, I was personally shocked.
Any guesses? If you watched 4 Verts earlier, you would know this, so maybe someone in the chat does.
By the way, make sure you guys subscribe to 4 Verts as well.
Check out 4 Verts. I would appreciate it. My other NFL YouTube channel.
And throw that link in the chat. Into the chat. You guys aren't subscribed. What are y'all doing? It's more of Harry.
My computer is, you might as well, it's like the dial-up days. This is brutal. Brutal weather.
Good stuff.
Come on, load, chat, load. Is anyone close?
Some of them got it, yeah.
People got it?
Some people are watching for
it's 0.1 million. 9.1 million. And next year it's like 15 and change. It's pretty reasonable.
Very affordable.
Pretty damn reasonable. So if people are like, well, how would you pay Caleb Williams? Darnell Wright. Well, he's not counting much against the cap for you. And plus, like, you bring him in, like, you're probably pivoting off a guy like Montez Sweat next year in that scenario. So you could maintain pretty good flexibility. Trade Talk Sports. Also, if I'm the Browns, I want 6 firsts. I'm not trading Myles Garrett personally, but if the Bears somehow got him, sign me the F up easily. Yeah, I mean, you're not getting – I don't think you'd get more than 3 firsts in terms of, like, first-round picks. You might get 3 firsts plus more. You might get 3 firsts in a player, 3 firsts in a day 2 pick. I wouldn't go that far, but, yeah, you're not getting 6 firsts. What do you think Josh Allen would go for? 6 firsts? Patrick Mahomes, 6 firsts? I think those type of guys are – but it's such a moot point because those teams wouldn't trade those guys anyway. So
that's – you know what? I'll ask the question. Pick any player in the NFL. What would be the most amount of first-round picks that you'd be willing to trade, again, just for any NFL player? You could also add that, too. Like, I'd be willing to trade, just throwing out an example, 5 firsts for Patrick Mahomes, just as an example.
I mean, if I was the Jets, I'd do that right now. You got 5 firsts in the next 2 drafts.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, what would be the most?
Depends what. For me, it would depend which team I'm running. For the Bears, like, I wouldn't trade 6 firsts for Mahomes because, like, I don't think Caleb's going to be necessarily going to be Mahomes, but I think he's going to be really good, so I wouldn't do that. But if I'm the Jets, I would.
So, so, like, Mahomes at how many? Like, let's say you're the Jets. I have Patrick Mahomes. And
someone said prime Julio 4 firsts. I love Julio. I'm not doing that for a receiver.
No. I say, all right, 5 firsts for Patrick Mahomes. That's my asking price. Would you do that?
Just for the Jets?
Yeah.
Fuck yes. Because I could just do it in the next 2 drafts.
Yep.
Like, that's not terrible.
What about 7?
I still probably would if I'm the Jets. That might be the only team.
8?
That's probably where I stop.
Okay. Just curious.
7-1s if I'm the Jets, because he is 30. I mean, coming off a knee. What does he look like? I mean, I think him and Garrett Wilson would cook.
It would.
Got Breece Hall. Got some pieces. Got to get the Q. Got to get
Aaron
the Q.
Donald, 5 first-round picks.
Throw in Geno and it's a deal. Isaac Glass. Adam Schefter just shut the door. We'll get into this. Adam Schefter calling the Browns and them telling him they're keeping him, that doesn't really move me. What do you expect the Browns to tell him? Yeah, we're open for business on Myles? No, he's a rare player. The Raiders never even did that. The Raiders shot it down the whole time, and then they fucking traded him, and it just fell apart.
Because that's not how you negotiate. You don't go out there and be like, hey, we're trading somebody, because that instantly decreases your leverage.
Well, not only that, I do think certain players enter certain stratospheres where, like, you just don't, even if you're willing to trade them, unless, like, you've mutually agreed, like, the players requested, like, you've come together and you're like, hey, we'll find a trade for you. That doesn't happen for these level players. Like, even last year when Myles requested a trade, the Browns released a statement saying they weren't going to trade him. Yeah, that doesn't really move me. Doesn't mean they're going to trade him, but I don't think the Browns telling Schefter we're not trading him is just like, well, I guess it's dead. I think if the Browns got a big enough offer, they would absolutely consider it, especially considering this financial maneuvering they did. There's literally no benefit other than it buys you more time to consider a trade if you were going to do that. It doesn't help Garrett out. It doesn't help them out in cap flexibility currently. It only pushes off when an option bonus is paid out to Myles. That's it. And once it's paid out, it's hard to trade him because the dead cap hit goes up. So why else would you do that maneuver unless you're at least cracking the door open for a trade? I think the Browns have looked at this trade market and they're like, shit, man, these teams are getting a lot of capital. Like, imagine if Myles Garrett, if we made him, not even made him available, but I think, Colin, they've probably gotten some calls and they're like, damn, like if it's already at this level, like what if we get closer to the draft and a team is willing to offer that by another 20%? Like, we might do it at that point. We may not do it now, but if someone's coming up another 20%, we might. So that's what I think is happening. I think they're at least opening themselves to the possibility where they would trade him if the right offer came. Doesn't mean they're looking for an offer. Doesn't mean they're actively shopping him. The Raiders didn't actively shop Crosby. Teams came to them.
Yep.
So that's what I think's happening. Wise Wealth, who could be the biggest surprise upside on defense and offense next year? Surprise upside on defense. I'll give you one on defense. I think there's a chance, assuming you don't get a Myles Garrett. I think Austin Booker could lead the team in sacks next year. I thought when he came back from injury, he finished the year strong. He got kind of unlucky with a couple of those penalties against the Packers. Like, his raw numbers would have looked better if a couple technical things didn't go against him. I think a big breakout for him could come, which would be great if they don't take a swing on an edge because they're going to need some pass rush production. Offense, a biggest surprise, I don't know, like Jade Walker catching like 50 balls. Like, I could see something like that happening. Like, he is the clear wide receiver 3. Like, he's just a really solid player. Like, I'd say those are a couple of things like I could see happening. They'd be relative surprises, but I could see both those things happening.
If I had to personally pick, I would say, and I don't know how much this one would be a surprise, but I'll just kind of make it a bold take. I think there's a real chance Kyler Gordon's your best defensive back next year and reestablishes himself as a true dynamic weapon that you extended before the season.
It's all about health with him. When he's out there, he's good.
I feel like his stock, again, dropped a little bit in terms of just dealing with injuries, not being 100%. He really finished the year strong when he was healthy.
Played good in the playoffs, especially in that second game.
I think he's got the flexibility to, contribute not only a nickel but also safety. I think he could be a really interesting pick. Jade Walker would be my pick, but just because you went with him, so I'll go with somebody else. I'll say Garrett Bradbury surprises people how good he could be. I think sometimes when you're surrounded by a guy like Joe Thuney and, listen, Jonah Jackson, gosh dang, I did it again. Jonah Jackson at right guard, who I think he played better in this Ben Johnson offense as the season went on.
Yeah, he played pretty well.
When you're surrounded by talented offensive linemen, and Bradbury, I'm not saying he's going to be an all-pro center or anything. I do think he's got the potential to surprise and maybe make that drop-off from Drew Dalman not as big as people think.
Yeah, I think that's going to work out fine. Now, I don't think it's going to work out so well where you're just sprinting to extend them or something like that. But I think from like the cerebral part of the game, that'll be relatively seamless. I mean, he's been a starter for like 6 or 7 years, and he's not the best like blocking center. Like, so why is that? It's because he's a smart player. And in the run game, I think it probably won't be that drastic of a drop-off. You know, Dahlman wasn't like an elite pass protector, but he was really athletic out in space in the wide zone game. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think Bradbury is going to be fine, especially considering what he's got around him. Another one I'll throw in there is if you roll with the same 1-2 punch at running back, maybe there's a world where it kind of flips, where maybe Monangai ascends, and, you know, maybe he's more of like the 1,000, 1,100-yard guy. Maybe Swift's like the 700, 800-yard guy. I probably wouldn't predict that right now, but it could happen. That if they trust him more on pass downs, then I think there's a chance that would happen. I thought Monangai, like at the very end of the year, hit a bit of a rookie wall. But, I mean, the one game he started against Cincinnati, I know it was the Bengals defense, he fucking dominated. So I think he's capable of, you know, I don't think he's ever going to be like that 3-down bell cow back, but I think he could be the like 1 in a 1-2 punch with DeAndre Swift. I mean, long term, I don't think you want Monangai as like your clear-cut 1, but like ideally he's your 2. But I think there's a chance that flips. That wouldn't shock me.
You don't sell me on that. But, no.
And I thought Swift had a great year. I just think, you know, Bieniemy's gone. Like Swift, you know, is he going to replicate what he did? Like he might, but in theory, Monangai, the arrow should be pointing up. And I'm not saying the arrow would point down on Swift, but like, you know, he's been around for 6 years. Like he's probably kind of just last year is probably like the peak of what he is in this league, and maybe he's around that level for a couple more years, but I don't think I think last year we found the next gear for Swift. I don't think there's a next gear. Like I think his best, he's like a top 15-ish running back in the NFL. And that's good for he makes $8 million. Like that's that's why I said I'd keep Swift unless you can find a clear upgrade for a reasonable price. Which clearly has not been the case up to this point. J-Lo, my cousin, is Will Pauling at Notre Dame. What do you think about him? He plays wide receiver. I'd be BSing you if I gave you a real analysis. So I'd have to look into him. Is he in the draft or is he still at Notre Dame?
Let's see. Draft profile. Let's see if he has one. Projected as a 2026.
I would have to look into him.
Yeah, I have not done a lot of work on Will Pauling. Not seeing too much in terms of a draft profile.
Let me check his stats, see if we got anything here. Again, my computer's moving at the speed of molasses. It's completely brutal. Come on.
Let's see.
And the reference is brutal now because it's like 2-factor authentication, basically. Dude, this is bad. I'm going to have to like reset this after the show.
Yeah.
Computer is just killing me.
Yeah, apparently, let's see.
I can't even load his stats, so unless you can pull them up.
He had a decent pro day, vertical of 42 inches.
Oh, that's really good.
40-yard dash, he ran a 4.37. So that's something you love to see.
Good speed. Trying to find his stats, but reference isn't working.
Yeah, here, let me see if I can pull them up. Will Pauling stats. Hey, it worked for me. This past season, didn't have a lot of production. 26 receptions, 381 yards. Did have 6 touchdowns, though, on 26 grabs, so that's decent.
What's his size?
He's 5'10", 165 pounds, so very light receiver. Or at least that's what they listed
6
on
touchdowns
Football
for
Reference.
a smaller receiver is pretty good.
This is the difference. Reference lists him at 165. Go to ESPN, and he's 190. The variance is insane.
That's quite a gap.
From what I'm seeing, seems like a late day 3 potential UDFA target. So
Okay. Got 2 7th-rounders. Take
Maybe.
a flyer there.
yeah, that vertical.
It's got
row
speed.
that's in now.
Speed. We know Ben Johnson likes that.
It would have been the number 2 wide receiver at the combine.
Wonder if
Had
did he
he
do any
jumped.
returning? Does it say?
Let me see. We're looking it up.
Sorry, guys. My computer is it's not functioning right now, for a lack of a better term. So,
He had 1 punt return.
Just one
in his career. Never kick return.
Okay. All right.
But
I'll look into him, J-Lo.
You cannot teach speed. So
Good speed, good explosiveness. That vertical. Will, could we have made all of our exact free agent moves, signings with a DJ Moore restructured instead of trading him? Yeah, the answer is yes, which we said at the time. But the reason you don't do that is, 1, his trade value was better than expected. But 2, yeah, you could have restructured him, but then it's a bigger challenge a year from now to trade him because you've kicked money down the road. If he has kind of a middling productive year, he's a year older. I think it was the right decision. But the answer is yes. They could have. The restructure versus trade savings was basically identical if you did a max restructure. So they could have done that. They certainly could have done that. How many more we got? Because I do want to get into some of these segments.
yeah, no, we only got a couple more. So
All right, we'll hit these, and then we will get into a formal mailbag segment, so keep firing away with some questions. We'll
among many others, he also asked, "What player or players would you hate to see get drafted to a team in our division that would possibly give us hell?" I could give you one right now that's been mocked to the Vikings for. It
What?
feels like this.
Thieneman.
Oh, dude, if he gets,
I wouldn't love that. I also one that's starting to I think there's a big chance it happens is really either of the left tackles go to Detroit at 17. Because that's their one hole on offense. If they get Caden Proctor or Monroe Freeling, that wouldn't be great. I think the Bears like Proctor, by the way. I don't know if he's going to get to 25, but I do think they like him. Alex Todd, no NFL player is worth 6-1s. Now maybe Bo Jackson. I don't think any non-quarterback is. I think the all-time QBs are. I mean, think about the Bears guys before Caleb, who we think is going to be really good for a long time, essentially have never had a high-level franchise quarterback, certainly for an extended period of time. You're telling me that there wasn't a point in this history's franchise you would have traded 5 or 6 first-round picks for a clear Hall of Fame quarterback? I would have. I know it sounds crazy, but what are the chances you're going to get a Hall of Fame level quarterback with 6 swings in the first round? Not very high. Hall of Fame quarterbacks don't grow on trees. We're hoping Caleb Williams is that. I think the Bears are in a good spot now where they don't need to even be thinking that way, where they need to trade for a quarterback like they almost traded for Russell Wilson a few years back. But, Crazy times. Blame Darius Presence. I'm nervous about Kyler Murray being in the division now. What says you? Nervous, no, but I do think he raises the floor of Minnesota, clearly. So, I think they become more of a factor now, assuming he wins the job. He hasn't played great the last couple years, but I do think he's a notable upgrade. I mean, JJ can't stay healthy, and B, has flashed a little, but not very much. And, they brought Carson Wentz back, but he doesn't concern me.
They won 9 games with 9.
9 games with 9, Carson Wentz and Max Brosmer.
Yes.
The Vikings are a good team. If Kyler Murray is a league average starter, they'll be in the playoff mix.
And regardless of what you think of him as a pocket passer, he's still got the athletic ability.
He's going to make plays.
Yes.
He's going to make plays. We're all curious about the fit with Kevin O. If Kevin O'Connell's a big-time coach, he'll make it work because Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, it's not going to work. Well, Ben's good at what he does, and Caleb's really talented. It's kind of working, and that's 1 year in. Like, if Kyler is still a good player, and I think he is, at least to a certain level, and if Kevin O'Connell is this great offensive coach like he gets the credit for, then he better make it work, because if not, that's unacceptable if you're a Vikings fan. Isaac Glass, I want to get surprised by Zay Frazier. That'd be great. If Zay Frazier is like a solid backup, that's a win. He went in the 5th round, and then he missed his entire rookie year. So, like, if he makes the team, that's good value at this point, because if he doesn't, 5th round pick, never playing for you, not the end of the world, but it's not like it's a 7th round pick. Like, you at least want a contributor in the 5th round. So hopefully he makes the team, and who knows, maybe he pushes to be your second outside corner or something like that. All right, appreciate all the super chats. We will get to any more that come in once we get into our mailbag segment. In the meantime, if you want to hit that like button, let's get as many Bears fans in here as possible. We got over 600 people watching live here on the show. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Let's get into it. Myles Garrett trade rumors are back. We'll talk about that from all angles. We will take more questions, trade ideas, free agency, draft, anything else. All available. Use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. And then ESPN, what is their draft approach for the Chicago Bears? We'll kind of react to that and give my thoughts as well. My name is Harrison Graham. Let's dive in. Oh boy, Myles Garrett trade rumors are back, and with the financial maneuver they just made, he could get traded. Could the Chicago Bears trade for him? They tried to at the trade deadline. My name is Harrison Graham. We're going to break it all down from all angles, the news, my take, what some trade ideas could look like. So we will do all of that here on today's show. And I'll just ask you, you want the Bears to trade for Myles Garrett? If you do, hit that like button. If you don't, tell me why in the chat. Say, no, it's going to cost too much, or I don't think he's worth it, yada, yada, yada. Forget how much. Do you want Myles Garrett or not? If you do, like the video. If you don't, let me know why. Okay, so let's just get you caught up on some of, like, the why this is back in the headlines. So the Browns and Myles Garrett have modified his contract, and essentially the way his extension works is on the 15th day of the league year for the next 3 years, 2026, 2027, 2028, he's set to get a big option bonus. So that was set to hit this week. They pushed those back, and both parties agreed, by the way. Garrett and his camp did not have to agree. When these type of deadlines get moved, it's a mutual agreement. It got pushed back not a week, 3 days. Sometimes there's like a couple-day maneuver to there's some other specific reason. Maybe they're about to sign a player or something like that. We saw it with Dallas Goedert. Bought them more time to extend him in Philly. They pushed it back to September, 7 days before the season. So you kind of wonder, why is that? Well, ESPN is reporting it, framing it as, it's beneficial to both sides, yada, yada, yada. Kind of just like, feels like PR talk. Maybe his base salary is going to get paid sooner, but there's really no benefit to Cleveland or Myles Garrett by doing this unless you're staying flexible to potentially trade him, because Myles Garrett's option bonus for this year is $29.2 million. That was set to go through this week. Why would he agree for that to get pushed off to September unless maybe there's a trade in the works, or there could be a trade in the works? These dudes want their money, and they want it as soon as possible. And maybe, again, some kind of signing bonus is going to go to him, or his base salary is going to go to him sooner or something like that we don't know about. That has not been reported on. The only logical explanation is you do this to stay flexible for a trade, because once that bonus hits, his dead cap hit if they trade him pre-June 1 would have jumped up to $70 million, whereas right now it's $41 million. That's kind of a big difference. Maybe the Browns have seen this red-hot trade market from a seller's perspective and said, hey, let's stay flexible just in case, and maybe we'll get Myles in his camp to agree. He did request a trade last year. Mary Kay, Cabot, who's covered the Browns for ever, Cleveland.com. The modifications confirmed by Cleveland.com result in a more team-friendly structure of the contract. Very vague type of statement, which would make him easier to trade, but the Browns have no plans to do so. In fact, if they had wanted to trade him, which they don't, they wouldn't have needed to tweak the contract. Well, yes and no. If they wanted to trade him, I think she's saying, well, they would have done it before this option bonus kicked in, so they didn't need to tweak the contract. But they did need to tweak it now if they still are open to trading him, because that deadline has come or was coming this week. And remember, messaging matters. The way this stuff gets reported matters. Of course the Browns aren't going to tell Mary Kay that they're going to trade Myles Garrett. Why would they? Adam Schefter is on McAfee today and is saying this regarding this topic. A team called me and they're like, hey, did you see the Myles Garrett thing? They're like, if you're shifting option bonuses around, usually there's trade smoke. And then he says, right away, I called the Browns, and I'm like, what's going on here? They're like, we are 100% definitely not trading him. They were adamant about it. They're like, don't even bring it up and dignify the fact because we are not trading him. They couldn't have been stronger about it. Well, what do you expect them to do? And I know everybody's like, oh, Adam Schefter shot that down. And listen, Schefter's the best in the business. I think he talked to the Browns. Like, he's got that access. But you think Jimmy Haslam or whatever front office member he talked to is going to take a call from Adam Schefter the morning after this contract modification gets leaked, and they're going to tell Schefter, yeah, we're gearing up for a trade? They're not going to do that. These caliber of players, these teams don't leak that they're open to trading them. Max Crosby and the whole situation, the Raiders never once, publicly or privately, either leaked out or themselves said, yeah, we're open to trading Max. It was always loosely reported like, yeah, like they'll listen to offers. That's what they did. Teams came to them. They got 2 firsts in an offer from the Baltimore Ravens, and they agreed to a trade. It just happened to fall apart because the Ravens cowered out and backed out. But the Browns are not going to advertise that they're trading the best defensive player in football. Why would they do that? It doesn't help the trade value, and it's kind of a bad look if Myles Garrett doesn't know that you're doing that. Right? Like, it doesn't benefit anybody to go out and say that. But behind closed doors, they might talk to Myles and say, hey, we know you asked out last year. We've gotten some pretty strong offers. We're kind of entering a rebuild with our new head coach. We're not saying we're trading you, but if we push back this deadline and we get a big enough offer, maybe we'd be open to it. Would you be okay pushing this roster bonus to September? It's guaranteed regardless. It's just going to hit later. But if it hits now, we can't trade you basically no matter what. Garrett might say, yeah, it's guaranteed regardless. Push it back. No problem. I think that's what's happening here. I think they're seeing how strong of a seller's market this is, and they're saying, you know what? We already got 2 1s this year. Next year could be a really strong QB class. What if we get offered 3 first-round picks? Would we trade the 30-year-old Myles Garrett? Maybe. We're not going to advertise it. We're not going to tell Adam Schefter or Mary Kay Cabot that. But we'll just move this little deadline back for when the bonus kicks in just in case. Just in case we get a big offer before the draft. Or after the draft, post-June 1, when a team like the Philadelphia Eagles could trade A.J. Brown and get involved in Myles Garrett. So I do think it's a possibility that he gets traded, and I think the Bears would be stupid to not at least call the Cleveland Browns and at least sniff around at what they would want for Myles Garrett. Then you've got this from Spotrac, Cap Expert. The Browns moving back the exercise dates of Myles Garrett's option bonuses freed up 0 cap space. The bonuses are already prorated over 5 years for cap purposes and will remain that way if and when exercised, which they will be exercised. It's just a matter of if it'll be with the Browns in September or with the new team who trades for them. The move does, however, keep all options on the table, aka a potential trade. Now, what would a trade look like? Brett Coleman, NFL YouTuber, pretty tapped in, he thinks it starts with 3 first-round picks. And he's probably right, which that makes it a little tough. I don't know if I'd go 3 1s for Myles. I'd think about it, but I don't know if I would go there. He says, the Browns doing this make me think they might have a buyer on the line here. And again, the point is they're probably getting calls. They're seeing how strong of a market it is. Myles Garrett's trade value will never be higher. He's 30 years old. He just broke the sack record. Like, it's never going to be higher than it is right now, especially considering how strong of a trade market this is for sellers. So, yeah, I think the Browns are smart here, and they got Garrett to agree to push this deadline back to at least remain flexible to potentially trade him for peak cost. So I ask you, Bears fans, would you trade 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett? Type Y for yes, you would, or type N for for no, you wouldn't. Don't forget another angle here. If you're just connecting the dots and the breadcrumbs here, the Cleveland Browns submitted a potential rule change that'll be voted on next month about allowing teams to trade up to the next 5 NFL drafts instead of the next 3. Right now, if the Bears made a trade today, they couldn't offer anything beyond the 2028 NFL draft. They can trade picks in 26, 27, and 28. If that rule passes and goes through, you could trade picks into the next 5 drafts. So 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and as every year passes on, so on and so forth. You guys know how that works. And I think it's relevant here because I think Cleveland prefers picks in 2027 and beyond. So if they were to trade Myles Garrett before the 2026 NFL draft and they want 3 first-round picks, they might want to have the possibility of, hey, we don't want one this year. We already have 2. We might need a quarterback next year. Give us a first in 2027, 2028, and 2029, which you can't currently do. But if that rule gets passed, you would be able to at that point in time. You're talking about one of the greatest defensive players of all time, probably the greatest defensive player of his generation, and definitely the best defensive player going right now. I love Max Crosby. I would have traded a first and a day 2 pick and a player for him. I wouldn't go quite to 2 1s given his injury history and the snaps he's played, but I love him. Myles Garrett is on a different planet. He is another level up for Max Crosby. He's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer if he retires tomorrow. Max Crosby is not that. To me, he's one of the 3 best defensive linemen I've watched in my life. It's him, it's Aaron Donald, and it's J.J. Watt. To me, that's a clear top 3. And listen, I love Khalil Mack. He is not Myles Garrett. He just isn't. Myles Garrett is one of the most dominant forces we have ever seen in the history of the National Football League. So, listen, you're not doing your job if you don't at least look around, especially if you're a team that needs pass rush help. We'll talk more about this coming up here. The playoff push is heating up and tournament hoops are here. There's no better way to cash in if you're right on the high-flying hoops action than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Every bucket, every dime, and every win means more when you're playing on Prize Picks. And with their brand new Team Picks markets, you can now pick game winners, spreads, and totals on top of the player picks you already know. So cash in if you're right during all the clutch buckets, slam dunks, and Cinderellas this spring with Team Picks on Prize Picks. You can pick the winner straight up on Prize Picks. Who's going to win the next big game? Who's going to win the fight this weekend? Back your takes with real money today. Download the Prize Picks app. Pick your first game winner, spread, or total as the playoff push rolls on and get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. You use our code CLNS. That is code CLNS to get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. When you're a contender, and I think the Bears have entered that stratosphere. Is this a one-year wonder? It could be. I don't think it is. A lot of their core is young. They should ascend. Caleb Williams should continue to improve. This coaching staff's really good. All that stuff. I trust that. Myles Garrett, if he's maybe available, you call. Now maybe they're like, oh, it's 3 firsts and 2 seconds and a player. It's okay. Yeah, fair enough. But you check in at minimum if you're Ryan Poles. And don't forget, this kind of slid under the radar. We talked about it on this show at the time. But Adam Schefter joined WGN after the trade deadline last year and casually mentioned this. He said the Bears made calls at the trade deadline. They acquired Joe Tryon-Shoyinka from the Browns. And when they were calling the Browns, they did ask about Myles Garrett as well. But Myles Garrett was not available. So we know Poles has had interest. He's at least sniffed around. Poles flat out said they were in on Max Crosby. He said that last time he talked to me. I was like, yeah, there was dialogue. He said he'd leave it there, but yeah, we talked to him. We played that situation out. And to me, he didn't close the door on still pursuing that if that were to become available. I think it's dead for now. I think Crosby's going to start this season on the Raiders and might finish his career there at this point. Who knows? But the point is Ryan Poles knows this team's pass rush is not in a great spot. I don't think he liked the value in free agency. Fair enough. I wouldn't have given Jalen Phillips $120 million either. But Myles Garrett is a guaranteed elite player. How long is he going to be elite? How much is it going to cost? Those are all different questions, but he changes a lot if you add him to this football team. the rest of your defensive line becomes a lot better. If Montez Sweat's your number 2 and getting consistent one-on-one looks, he's going to win those a pretty decent amount of the time. Grady Jarrett, Jervon Dexter on the interior, maybe one of those 3 depth pieces hits. Those guys are getting more one-on-one looks because you have to double and triple Myles Garrett, and he still is winning against those looks a lot. Frees up your linebackers. Your secondary doesn't have to cover as long. This guy is the ultimate multiplier if he's on your football team. The Browns were a joke, and he anchored one of the best defenses in the league a year ago because he's that dominant of a force. Now, from a financial standpoint, his current cap hit is $23.7 million. If they traded him before June 1st, that jumps up to $41.1, so it would cost an additional $18 against the cap for Cleveland. Not great, but then he's off your books. If they post you one traded it, it's 15 and change this year, 25 and change next year. It splits up that 41. Maybe the Browns would prefer that. Again, I think the Eagles are a team to watch if it's a post-June-1 trade because they could pivot off A.J. Brown, get more capital, go trade for Myles Garrett. Could totally see them doing that. The new team in cash would owe Myles Garrett $31.5 million this year, $41.7 million next year, $24.8 million in 2028, which in a vacuum, 3 years, about $96 million in cash flow for a player of his caliber, guaranteed. Not that bad. 29 and 30 are non-guaranteed. At least not fully guaranteed. I'd have to look and see if there's partial guarantees. But I think the top 3 rows are the fully guaranteed. So from an owner standpoint, I know the Bears at times have felt cheap. But like for a caliber of his player, 3 years, less than $100 million, that's not terrible. And from a cap hit standpoint, it's even better. This year, it's only $9.1 million. So in terms of like absorbing the cap hit, the Bears can absolutely do that. 2027, it's $17 million. That's a very reasonable number. 28, it's $21.4. Very reasonable. Yeah, it balloons after that, but at that point, you're negotiating a new deal, or you cut and trade him at that point because the dead cap hits are a lot less. Like, this is a pretty reasonable contract for a team that trades for him, which is why the Browns are going to get a lot if they move him because his contract isn't that bad if you trade for him. And the Browns, you're talking about one of the greatest players like in the league currently, all time, etc. So they're not just going to give him away. But if I'm Cleveland trying to rebuild, I'd be thinking about it. And if I'm the Bears, I'd at least be sniffing hard here and trying to figure out if it's worth the squeeze or not. We'll take a look at some trades in a second, but hit that subscribe button first. It's 100% free. We don't charge whether you agree with me, disagree. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. We're going to bring it every day. That I can promise you. The live chat's always open. The comment section, you guys give your thoughts. That's what makes this platform awesome. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. If they trade for Myles Garrett, we're going to be going live for a very, very long time. Okay, trade idea number 1, and to me this is more of just like kind of ballpark of what trades could look like. Maybe it's just straight up 3 first-round picks. I wouldn't love that. That's a lot, even for Myles Garrett. He is 30 years old now. I do think he'll age really well. He takes care of his body. He's missed 5 games total in the last 6 seasons for a trenches player. That is excellent. Max Crosby, I do think there are long-term aging concerns just with how many snaps he played and the amount of surgeries he's had. With Garrett, I think he can still be an elite player into his early and mid-30s. So, it's a lot, but I would understand if a team gave up 3 ones. I'm not sure I would. Here's another trade idea. A second this year, 57 or 60, who cares? Doesn't really matter. Your next 2 ones, 27 and 28, because, again, I think the Browns would prefer future first-round picks. They already have 2 this year. And then a second next year. So 2 ones and 2 twos. It's a lot, but you're not having to give up 3 ones. And then trade idea number 3. 2 ones, 2 thirds, and a player. Maybe one of those thirds has to turn into a second, depending on who the player is. Like, for example, the 3 players, I'd say, hey, Cleveland, pick one. If they pick, like, Tyreek Stevenson, he's probably worth the least out of these 3 currently. Maybe one of those 3s turns into a 2. If it's one of these other guys, young, trenches player, maybe it's 2 ones, 2 threes, and, Dexter or Austin Booker. And, I'd like to keep Austin Booker, but if I'm trading for Myles Garrett, that I'm more willing to lose Austin Booker. If they would take Montez Sweat, great. But if the Browns are trading Myles Garrett, I don't think they want 29-year-old, $25 million player in Montez Sweat. Maybe I'm wrong, but that would be my guess. Look, it would cost a ton. It's going to cost a lot to get Myles Garrett. It's going to cost a lot to get Max Crosby. This is a whole different level. I know he's a year older than Max, but, doesn't have the durability questions that Max has. Anybody can get hurt anytime. We understand that. This is football. We saw it with Micah Parsons. There's always a risk. But could you imagine him on this football team? If you told me right now the Bears traded for Myles Garrett and just added a solid safety next to Kobe Bryant, why can't the Bears be right in the mix to win the Super Bowl next year and for the next few years? Tell me why not. I think they would be, and I think they could be. And I'm not saying you trade anything and everything for Myles Garrett, but if you can get him without giving up 3 firsts, which is what I said about Max, if you can get Max without giving up 2 ones, I'm thinking about that very, very hard. And if I'm the Bears, and to me, Garrett's worth about 1 extra first than Crosby is when you add up all the potential assets in a trade. It's pretty tempting. Pretty tempting. I don't know if I'd do 3 ones, but if it's a little less than that, I'd be pretty tempted to pull the trigger on that. What say you? Send in your best Myles Garrett trade offers in the comments. I'll be reading them throughout the comment section of this video, so fire away. Let me know what's the most you send, or if you're just like, I don't want them, you could say that as well. My name is Harrison Graham. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. That way you never miss an episode here on the channel. We'll see you guys soon. Bear down. All right, hashtag Bear Super Chat. We'll get to your questions shortly here.
Chris Techno, we see your Super Chat. In fact, he sent in a $25 Super Chat.
Oh, 25. Is it a mailbag-worthy one?
It is.
All right, we can get to that in the mailbag.
I was going to say, do you want to lead off with it?
Yeah, we could lead off with it.
That's a pretty good question.
Lead off with it.
But you don't have to Super Chat. You can use hashtag Bears, as you see on screen. And it has to be like that. It can be just hashtag with Bears right next to it. Our software is pulling chats from the comments section and attach a question that you would like Harry to potentially answer. Could be draft related, could be trade rumors, could be a number of different things. You guys want to get involved in this mailbag show. This is a great time and a great way to do it. And again, it's completely free. Just use hashtag Bears and chat in the chat.
Hashtag Bears Super Chat. We'll get to as many of your questions as we can here. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Looks like the Cubbies went down 10-4. Kind of got worked. Brewers beat the White Sox 14-2. Ouch. Only close game, really. Orioles 2, Twins 1. Cardinals 9-7 over the Rays currently. Rangers getting smoked 5-0 by the Phils. Tigers 8, Padres 2. Angels 1, Astros 0 in the 8th. Red Sox up 2-0 on the Reds in the 9th. So that's where things sit in the baseball world opening day. All right, you want to get into this little mailbag?
Yes. Got a couple just non-related. Walter, by the way, miss you too, bro. Couple non-related super chats.
Yeah, it's up to you. I haven't. My shit's so slow, so I haven't seen them.
We can load them in just real quick, just before the mailbag, and then allows a little more flow. We'll just hit these real quick before we get in the mailbag. But we'll jump right in. We'll start with Anu. This one I kind of low key. I asked you today, just about the George Gervin stuff.
Yeah, I haven't done a deep dive into it yet. I might hit it on a video tomorrow, so stay tuned. I actually don't know if he has it trademarked, George Gervin. I know that was being debated. So as far as the merch, that's above my head. I'm not going to – I don't know, that situation. But, if something ever came up where we had to, stop selling it, certainly we would do that if it came down to it. But I don't know the legal mumbo-jumbo on that. But get your Iceman gear. It's available. Chatsports.com/Bears shop. Who knows? It might be a collector's item soon.
Maybe.
So, I don't think there's an issue currently, but that's above my paycheck. It just disappeared.
Of course it did. See, now you know, too, hosting these, solo watch
I don't know why it does that.
So
I know it happens, but I don't know why.
So it's a refresh rate thing of pulling it, the link, and it refreshes every set amount of time that it does it. And sometimes, the info that it's holding doesn't match up with the timing. It's much mumbo-jumbo.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Zilla, watching the show while making baked potato casserole.
Oh, there you go.
Love y'all, boys.
Sounds good.
Hey, love you too, man.
Leave us a plate. Come on, man. Bears now got to eat.
Bears now got to eat. All right.
We're actually going to go watch some Sweet 16 action after this. Cullen and I and some of the office. So
yeah,
that'll be a good time. All right, you ready? Mailbag time. # Bears Super Chat. Let's dive into it. I'm Harrison Graham. We have a super chat to kick off this mailbag here on Chicago Bears Now. $25. Shout out to Secret Bajent Man's Burner. What big ticket offensive player would you trade for in the NFL to round out the offense? Probably the one I've said multiple times, Devon Achane. One, I don't think it would cost a first-round pick. And two, his cap hit for you this year would be like $5 million. So you're not breaking the bank to do it. You would certainly extend him, but I think that would be the guy. There's no receiver I'm trading for, like notable capital for. You don't need a tight end. The Trent Williams stuff, if he became a free agent, I'd try to sign him, but I'm not trading for 38-year-old Trent Williams in his contract. So I think it would be a guy like Devon Achane. Sounds like the Dolphins are going to extend him, so I don't think he's truly going to be available. But that would be a guy, if he were available, I would love to add to this football team. Okay, let polls cook. Is there any chance the Bears would sign Odell Beckham Jr.? I'd be pretty surprised. He played in the Fanatics flag football deal, had a couple cool catches. And listen, OBJ is going to be able to catch one-handed passes until he dies. Like, I have no question about that. But can he stay healthy? Can he absorb contact? What does he look like in the NFL game at 33 years old? Didn't play last year, had hardly any production in 2024. In 2023, had moderate production, had like 560 yards and 3 touchdowns. I know Jordan Schultz put this out there. This felt like classic player agent talk that Odell has received renewed interest after his showing at the Fanatics flag football game. Beckham was one of the most impressive players in the field and fully intends to play in 2026. And look, I could see a team bringing him in on a non-guaranteed one-year deal. And listen, if the Bears wanted to do that, I'd have no problem. Be great for me. Be great content. It'd be fun to talk about. But at best, he's competing for that wide receiver 3 role, and I'm not even that confident he'd win that job. I mean, Jahdae Walker showed good things as a rookie. Khalif Raymond is a guy Ben Johnson and Antoine Randall are very comfortable with. I'd be pretty floored. He's not going to contribute on special teams, and if he's not going to win that wide receiver 3 job, if he's your 4th or 5th guy and doesn't play on special teams, is that worth a roster spot? Like, your backup skill guy's got to play on special teams. Unless they have a unique offensive skill set, and I don't think this version of Odell Beckham has that. Like, late career Julio Jones, like, he was still a really good red zone threat. Like, is OBJ that? I don't really know. It'd be fun to talk about. It'd be fun to watch and him fight for a spot in training camp, but I'd be pretty surprised if the Bears gave him a call and signed him. But listen, you never know. Ben Johnson's the coach. If he's intrigued by it, I guess you can never say never. What about you? Any interest in OBJ? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Again, from an entertainment, channel content, game standpoint, yes, but in reality, not really. I'd like to see him sign with the team, though, see if he's got any juice left. Okay, Seth, what are the odds the Bears have the best O-line this year? I don't think the best. Last year, by the end of the year, it was one of the best. It was a pretty good group. But, Garrett Bradbury's not great. I don't think it'll be a massive downgrade from Dahlman. If they surprise us and draft a left tackle in the draft, like Caden Proctor, or if somehow him or Monroe Freeling fell and that player was a big hit at left tackle, then yeah, it's possible again because Joe Tooney's an elite guard. Jonah Jackson's a great player. Darnell Wright has become an all-pro at right tackle, so you couldn't rule it out. I think, more realistically, you're looking for at least top 10, if not top 5. I still think it'll be a really good group, but probably not the best in the league, if I had to guess. Lacora, does Myles Garrett consider to be traded in the middle of 2026 if Cleveland is down bad tanking? Yeah, I mean, always good players, bad teams, trade deadline. You got to consider those. The Bears, according to Schefter, called about Myles Garrett at the trade deadline last year, and they completely dismissed that. They were not going to trade him. But, could he fit the bill of, hey, we'll have him to start the year, but if things aren't going well, then we trade him midseason? Certainly. I do think the advantage to trying to trade him now, if you're Cleveland, is A, if you want capital in this draft, you've got that. But also, B, you can't predict what the trade market will be midseason. Sometimes teams get really desperate. Sometimes it's more of a buyer's market. Right now, as we sit, this is a strong seller's market. Teams have been overpaying for players. I mean, Jalen Waddle, nice player, hasn't had a 1,000-yard season the last 2 years, went for a first and a third, essentially. So, the Browns might be able to squeeze out 3 ones for Myles Garrett. I'm not sure that would be the case in the middle of the year. Okay, chatsports.com/Bears shop. That is the place to go to get yourself some Chicago Bears Now merch and go with the classic Bears Now tees. I just got mine. I'll probably rock it on the show tomorrow. Chatsports.com/Bears shop. You got the Iceman hoodie and t-shirts as well. It's all available. FGB, Took the North, Beers, our turn. It's all there. More merch down the pipe. By the way, I was talking about an idea with our merch team, so stay tuned. Keep that link bookmarked. Chatsports.com/Bears shop. We're always working up some new ideas. Okay, $5 super chat from Harrison Silverback Gorillas. This guy's unreal. Would you trade our first and one of our seconds to move up to 15 so we can get Akeem Messidor and also get a fifth back? I like Messidor a lot. I don't like him. I'm not trading 10 spots for him, I don't think. Like, if you love him and it's like 21 or 22 and you're like, you're getting antsy, okay, like maybe move up 3 or 4 spots, trade a third or a fourth to do it. I can live with that. Messidor is going to be 25 years old. I don't know if you're moving up 10 spots and making and also to move up to 15, I don't know if 25 and like 60 gets you there. You might have to trade more. So if he gets past 20 and you love him, I can do that. I don't think I can move up 10 spots for a 25-year-old. I think that's a little too rich. Tom Panazzo, how many players do you think are worth the 25th pick? I think the Bears end up trading down. I mean, it depends who's available, right? If Ty Simpson's still there, well, is a team starting to think about trading back into the first round to get the fifth-year option? That would be great. I don't think Ty Simpson's worth a first-round pick, but people in NFL circles might. It seems like he probably will go in the first round. Without knowing who the first 24 picks are, it's hard to say. Last year, I was shocked when the Rams traded out of the 26th pick and got a future first in returns for James Pierce Jr., who may never play again. So you never know on draft night. Teams get antsy. Teams get aggressive. I think trading down is certainly an option and a move I'd like to see depending on who's available at 25. Subscribe to the channel. We got Bears videos all year long. We do mailbags like this every live show Monday and Thursday, so join us for those as well, 4 o'clock Central Time. We're covering the latest news, rumors, draft buzz. We'll crank out a few more mock drafts between now and the NFL draft. So lock us in. Got a lot of fun stuff coming up. All right, Eric Green, would you draft Proctor in round 1 to compete at left tackle this season and potentially slide inside and take over for Tooney when he eventually retires? I was kind of thinking, like, okay, if they really like Caden Proctor and he's there at 25 and take him, like, again, kind of like Messidor, like I probably wouldn't trade up for him, maybe a couple spots, but if they just love him, 6'7", 350, athletic as hell, like I get the appeal. Like I thought he had a really good year. Maybe it's, hey, you take him, he probably is your left tackle this year, certainly would have to compete with Braxton and earn the job. Jedrick Wills potentially in the mix there as well. But, long term, what does that mean for Ozzie? Well, number one, we don't know what Ozzie's going to be coming off a torn patellar tendon. That's a pretty brutal injury to come back from. We'll see what Rashawn Slater looks like this year, who's obviously a higher level player than Ozzie Trapillo, so that'll be interesting to watch. But two, if Ozzie does come back and is still a good player, to your point, I do think Proctor can play guard with his size and his ability to move well enough. He certainly has the power. By then, 2027, maybe Tooney walks away or the Bears move on because his contract, you could move on that season. Or, maybe they move on from Jonah Jackson. Who knows? But I think it's one of those, if you like Caden Proctor, you probably like him as your left tackle, and you figure out the Ozzie component later. Because A, you don't know how he's going to come back from injury, and B, if Caden Proctor plays, wins the job, and is awesome as a rookie at left tackle, you're probably keeping him at left tackle because it's a more premium position, and you figure out the Ozzie part of it out later. Chris Aldridge, is Jawan Taylor a good signing for the Bears or not because he's available if we trade Darnell Wright for Garrett? Okay, I know someone threw out the Darnell Wright for Myles Garrett trade package idea. They're not trading Darnell Wright. Like, I'd be floored if they traded Darnell Wright. When you get a cornerstone offensive tackle who's 24, yes, is Myles Garrett better than Darnell Wright? Of course. They're not going to trade Darnell Wright in a package for Myles Garrett. I'd be stunned, especially given who this head coach is. I also think Jawan Taylor sucks. I don't think he's good. It's a moot point because I'm rarely shocked anymore because the Max Crosby trade, then untrade, Luka Doncic, you never know, but that would shock me if they traded Darnell Wright. I really just do not see that coming. He became an all-pro this year at 24 years old, and the Bears for years had O-line issues, and you finally don't. You're going to trade him. You got a quarterback you're developing. I just don't think that's what you do. I don't think that's what you do. Will the Bears make a trade before the draft? Type 1 for yes or type 2 for no? We'll see. Got about 3 weeks. We'll see how it plays out. A few more here. Kittis, how good is the 2027 cap looking like with potential cuts of Dio, Grady, etc.? I'll have to look that up. I think when they cut both those guys, assuming they do, unless one or both shocks us this year and has a great year, they're obvious cut candidates. They should have a lot of money. We're talking potentially $75-80 million bucks, I think, if they cut both those guys. So they have flexibility, which is why they can restructure some guys. There's room next year if you got to kick some money down the road because you're probably going to cut those guys. So yeah, they're in a good spot with their cap moving forward. Jason Morse, have you noticed that the 30 visits are being used to bring in players with question marks and not surefire targets? How many 30 visit guys were drafted last season? I'm going to do a top 30 visits draft tracker. Depending on when you're watching this mailbag, that may already be out. So go check it out if you're in that camp. If you're watching this mailbag live on Thursday when we're filming it, I have not filmed it yet. Plan is to film it on Friday at some point when I'm in the office and publish it either Friday or Saturday. But, they've kind of had a mixed bag of top 30 visits. And, look, a lot of those visits are about, hey, let's dive deeper into the person. You've seen the tape. You've seen the combine. You've seen the pro day. Let's get to know this guy. Maybe he had a misdemeanor in college. Let's dig into that. The character stuff. So, teams have different approaches, and they bring in – sometimes you bring in surefire first-round talents and you just want to learn more about them. Sometimes you bring in talented guys but have off-field question marks. Sometimes you're bringing in diamonds in the rough to kind of store in the memory bank for late day 3 picks. So all that is in play. You got 30 of these, so you got to be selective on who you're bringing in. All right, appreciate you guys for tuning in to this mailbag episode. We can't get to everybody, but my DMs are open on social media, at HGramNFL, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. DMs are flying away. I'm also publishing content on those platforms, so check it out. I'm on Facebook too, facebook.com/HGramNFL, or you can search Harrison Graham Chat Sports on Facebook. You'll find me. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. Bear down. All righty, we got one more segment coming up, and then we will get on out of here. We'll take a look at we'll do a little draft conversation.
Speaking of the draft. You know what time it is. Got a draft crush.
Oh, yeah? Calling draft crush.
Now, this is a wide receiver, as previously requested by you guys. And I'm going to give a hint.
Oh, you want to see if I can guess it?
Just see. Because you obviously studied this draft class as well. This is a receiver you are very familiar with.
Okay.
Day 3 guy.
Eric McAllister?
No, not that close.
Not that familiar?
Not that close. But, you're not far off in terms of your thinking.
You're
obviously
very familiar. Clear day 3, there's no chance he goes day 2?
I'd be shy. There's some buzz, but, he had a good Senior Bowl, but I'd be kind of stunned if he went day 2.
Is it Brennan Thompson? Or?
Nope.
Huh. Is it the Texas Tech guy? I'm forgetting his name.
No, it's not him, although he was somebody I did look at.
God. Have I mocked him to the Bears in a mock?
You may have. I'm not sure.
Okay.
He definitely, like I said, he's not a guy you would have mocked in like the first 2 rounds.
But I clearly know
or
the
first
guy.
2 days.
I know the guy.
I think so.
Okay.
As much of a college football fan that you are, and I'll give you this. Big 12.
Okay. You guys guess in the chat too if you want. Big 12. Golly.
Nobody from TCU.
It's not a yeah, it's
not a Horned Frog.
They don't have anyone after McAllister anyway. Is it a Baylor guy? I know who you're talking about. I forget the guy's name. Yeah, that's right. Josh Cameron. Yeah, he's pretty good. I hate Baylor, but he is pretty good. All right, let's talk about him.
Josh Cameron, wide receiver from Baylor, as Harry previously mentioned, wore number 34 for the Baylor Bears.
Brutal number.
Brutal number. Plays a little bit like a running back, so it kind of makes sense.
It's kind of built like one, 6'1", 224.
He is a bowling ball whenever he gets in open space. He's not going to overwow you with speed, explosiveness, but he does all the little things really well. He actually played really well as an outside guy. Pretty good at contested catches, can win 50-50 balls, back, shoulders, and everything. And he's a willing blocker as well in the run game.
That's a check.
No block, no run. I mean, I looked at guys like Deion Burks, Zachariah Branch, guys that would give you more of that juice. They're not giving you anything in the run game in terms of run blocking, excuse me. This guy will. We are live.
One more segment, so maybe 20 minutes.
Anyways, shout out to Marshall Green. He is a guy that I'm going to be really interested to see. He might be one of the most interesting wide receiver prospects because his just run after the catch ability, again, it's not built on speed, but it's just bouncing off defenders.
See, like a Debo type? Poor man's Debo?
A little bit. Again, 224, you see it on screen. It's bigger at 6'1". He's like more compact. He's got really good hands, like wins contested catches, wins those 50-50 balls that can be really crucial. He turns into a running back. Again, he's not going to give you like the explosive play, but he can read zone coverage. He's a red zone weapon. Alignment flexibility, like he probably lines up more as like an X, but you can move him into the slot if need be. Maybe he potentially can get into the backfield with some creativity from Ben Johnson. Also has punt return ability. So he's got that as a little bit of special teams value as well from Baylor. He had a 20.7 yards average in 2024. This past season, he also returned punts as well, but I don't have that average in front of me. Again, not in terms of speed and like athleticism. He's not going to blow you away.
What did he run at the combine?
He was like a 4.6 guy.
Okay.
So again, not the fastest.
Yeah. That's not his game.
Not his game. He is somebody, though, that if you're looking at a day 3 guy that's going to willing to do the dirty work, that can also give you a little something after the catch. I basically went the combination of everything that Ben Johnson would potentially look at, minus the explosive. Like I'd be shocked if this guy ever had like a 50-plus yard touchdown in the league. But doesn't mean he can't help you in between the 20s and the red zone, as I mentioned. So he's a really interesting prospect. I was kind of enamored with this.
When are you comfortable? Like 4th round, does his window start to open in your eyes?
Start to open, yeah.
4th to 6th, just kind of wide ranging, probably.
Probably, and you're gonna have to have a vision for him, which I think if anybody could, Ben Johnson would be one of those guys.
Yeah.
No block, no rock. He's one of the better blocking wide receivers in this draft.
I wonder if he's a guy that Ben would like occasionally line up in the backfield. I mean,
maybe
they were trying that with DJ Moore last year. Be interesting.
Yeah.
Good hands?
Really good. I think some of the best hands in this class.
Okay. I like that.
Like, go, if you ever have the chance, obviously.
I've watched them some.
Yeah.
Last year was probably the least amount of Baylor I've watched in a while, but I've seen him some. This
is definitely a guy who gets drafted. Kidis, did I even say it again? I'm not even going to deny it anymore. I think I've said it like 3 times. But yeah.
All right, Josh Cameron, 13 draft crushes. And by the way, little teaser, unless something changes, no draft crushes next week.
Yeah.
Because we're doing a little producer swap week next week. So, if there's major breaking news, I would imagine Cullen will go live with me. But if it's just our normal live schedule, I don't think it's going to be with Cullen. So we'll pick him back up the week after, and we'll be pretty close to draft time at that. We'll have like 2 weeks, so probably get to about 16, 17 draft crowd. Maybe you go 2-a-days that week when we get back.
Need to catch up.
Maybe we go 2-a-days. We'll see. I'm just giving Cullen more work. So
I've been officially cut from Bears Now, and he's giving me more work
to
do while
we're cutting him for the week, and it wasn't my decision. They want to mix it up for a week. So
Harry's trying to bring in me after I clear waivers and everything at a cheaper price.
Yeah, it's like we don't love you at $8 million, but if we cut you and you don't get picked up and your market dries up, we'll bring you back for $3 million.
Yeah.
That type of thing. No, I'm just kidding. doing a little switcheroo company wide next week. So
I'll give you all a little hint too. A producer that has not been on the show will be taking my
never
place.
Been on this show. The guy who's going to produce, it sounds like. So stay tuned. I've actually never worked with him. Even on just like a non-live show. I've never worked with this guy. I've heard good things.
Yeah. I think you
Pressure's
guys
on this guy. I said a kid. He's a young buck.
He's a young buck. He's not
He's a married young buck though.
Married young
He's
buck.
like, isn't he like 21? He just turned 21 recently. We hired a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Unbelievable.
I'll feel old next week. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm more than 10 years older than this guy.
By the time y'all get to Thursday, you'll have already all forgotten about me, and I'll be moved on to better.
Yeah, it'll be over.
It'll be over.
It'll be
for all those people that were like, "Why did we replace Rolly with this guy?" Well, they got a week without me.
Yeah, this is your Super Bowl. This is it.
Kiddis, that is not the answer. Like I said, you guys, I think you're gonna enjoy this guy. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
We'll be fun. The content rolls on.
But yeah.
All right. One more segment. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll get to that last super chat after this segment. Is it already loaded?
I didn't even see it. Get that loaded up here real quick. This is coming in from Christ is King saying, "Hey, H. Graham, as a fan of Kansas." And
I saw another. Oh, wait, my thing is just way slow. Yeah, I'm just getting the baked casserole super chat. That's how
you are behind.
It's a problem. Hey, H. Graham is a fan of Kansas, and since you're a TCU guy, what has been your favorite TCU versus Kansas football or basketball games as you've seen in recent years? Probably when we slaughtered you guys in Allen Fieldhouse on CBS Saturday a couple years ago. Beat you guys by like 25. It's the only way you can win in Fog Allen, because if it's close late, we know which team's getting the whistles. No offense, but you know how it works. Those rims, they tighten those rims for the road team in the second half. That's just how it is up in Fog Allen. You know that going in, so that's part of the deal. But that was a fun one. We've obviously won a lot of football games over you guys over the years, but I know what I didn't enjoy was when we lost in Lawrence in football. When was that? Was that like 2019? That was a pretty rough loss, but yeah, you've been a good sport. I think you've DM'd me a couple times about. Were you the guy that DM'd me and said, "Hey, David Punch is going to look good in a Kansas uniform next year"? That was it kind of grabbed at my heart a little bit. That was tough, but yeah, it's. I'll say this: TCU and Kansas play really good basketball games. For whatever reason, we have matched up well with Kansas over the years. Quick story: my freshman year, when TCU first joined the Big 12, we were terrible in basketball. It was the biggest upset in college basketball history at the time. We were like 330 in the RPI, which is now the net ranking for you basketball nerds. Kansas was number 5 in the country. It was the largest upset in the history of the sport at the time. I don't know if that's been topped, but yeah, it was a scene. I failed a test the next day because I didn't study. I went to the game instead. It was worth it, though. It's worth it. Good times. All right, enough college hoops talk. Appreciate the super chat. One more segment to go. Let's do it. This is Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. ESPN dropped an article and kind of just did a draft preview, if you will, for all 32 teams. Kind of dived into what big needs remain for every single team, including the Bears, obviously. They listed the Bears' top 3 needs as edge, safety, and center. Center, I don't know if that's top 3, but certainly long-term they need a center, as Garrett Bradbury might just be a one-year rental. They also named a non-first-round draft target that the Bears and obviously all 31 NFL teams should explore as well. So we'll kind of react to all this piece by piece here on today's show. My top 6 needs right now, and this continues to fluctuate because I'd be okay going any of these directions in the first round, except center. I wouldn't take a center in the first round. Probably not D-tack either, even though I have it as the third biggest need. I don't love the first-round caliber defensive tackles, but safety, you need a starter, obviously. Edge rusher, you need to bolster that unit. I don't know if they'll draft a defensive tackle, but long-term, they're going to have to get better at that position. You have decent depth now, but the starters are kind of underwhelming. Center, I don't think you have to force it, but if the right guy is there in the third or fourth round, I could see them going in that direction. Corner as well, I think, is a sneaky need. And then left tackle. You've got Braxton Jones, Theo Benedict, and Jedrick Wills, but it's not like any of those guys are a guaranteed solid answer for this season. And long-term, there's a question mark still with Ozzie Trapillo. As far as the draft capital goes, the Bears obviously have the 25th pick. They got 57 and 60 in the second round, 89 in round 3, 129 in the fourth round, no 5th or 6th round pick as of now, and then they've got 239 and 241 in the 7th round for this draft. 7 picks in total, 4 of them in the top 90. What's the Bears' biggest need entering the draft right now? I think you have to say safety because you really only have one caliber starter. I mean, you could play Elijah Hicks, but ideally he's your third guy. I think it's safety, big picture, D-line overall. Left tackle and center are question marks, but I think you have to have safety at this point in time as your biggest need. Okay, Courtney Cronin, ESPN.com. The top 3 needs, she says, edge, center, or safety center. The Bears didn't use free agency to sign a star defensive end, so all signs point toward using an early draft pick on a player to start opposite of Montez Sweat. Chicago hasn't used a first-round pick on an edge rusher since drafting Leonard Floyd at number 9 overall in 2016. But given the depth of the position in this draft class, the Bears are in a good position to address a major need early. If you're going to take one in the first round, I think this is the group of 4 that could be in that range. Messidor could certainly be gone, maybe 1 or 2 of these other guys as well, but my gut tells me at least one of these 4 will be there between Akeem Messidor, Zion Young, Keldrick Falk, and TJ Parker. They're bringing in Zion Young for a top 30 visit, so seems like they're interested in him. There's been a lot of buzz there too in other mock drafts, etc. I think Messidor and Young are a step above the other 2. I think Messidor is a better player right now, but he's going to be 25. Zion Young's a younger player, so I would understand going Young over Messidor. He probably checks some of the DA measurables a little bit more as well with his arm length and overall size, but both really good players. Messidor, I think, probably a better pass rusher. Zion Young might be a little bit better as a run defender, but both are certainly good players. If both these guys are gone, I think I would wait. I don't love Keldrick Falk and TJ Parker. I'm intrigued by Falk, but I also worry that he's just a bust. Like, is he twitchy enough at the edge? I think he'll defend the run well, but he seems sluggish at times. TJ Parker, decent high floor, but I don't know how high the ceiling is. To me, that's a day 2 player that I would rather take, in the 30s or 40s. Falk is a bit of boom bust. I think Young and Messidor have a fairly high floor. I think their ceilings are fairly high as well. The red flags with Messidor, some injury history, going to be 25 years old. But I think him and Young are guys I like at 25. I don't like the other 2 as well. And obviously, David Bailey, he's going to be long gone by that point. Pick an edge rusher. Who would you rather have at 25 overall? Type AM for Akeem Messidor, ZY for Zion Young. I like both. I might lean Messidor. I think his tape was a little bit better. Young's younger, so I understand going that route as well. Okay, Courtney Cronin continues saying, with the departures of Kevin Byard III, Jaquan Brisker, safety is another position that needs to be addressed as finding a center the Bears can develop over time, given Garrett Bradbury has only 1 year left on his contract. So if you're talking about safeties here, the usual suspects, we've mentioned both these guys, potential options at 25, although it seems more likely than not that at least Thieneman's going to be gone. And I even heard Daniel Jeremiah say that some teams have Thieneman and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren above Caleb Downs on their big board, which that's kind of a different discussion, but I find that kind of crazy. But DJ gets good info. If he's right on that, regardless of the Downs part of it, that tells me probably all three of those guys would be gone at 25. But maybe EMW is sitting there, maybe Thieneman, but I doubt it. So then you're probably looking at some more day 2 safeties. I don't think there's a fourth safety you would take at 25 overall. Halsey could maybe push toward the first round, but I wouldn't take him that early. Traden Stukes is a fascinating hybrid player. He is older, which is why he's more of a day 2 option, but nickel safety hybrid, who I think could play some outside corner if needed as well. Kamari Ramsey can play both safety positions. Genesis Smith had a good combine. Zakee Wheatley didn't test great, but has been a good player for Penn State. Bud Clark, interception machine, 15 in his career at TCU. I think between these 6 guys, then Thieneman and McNeil-Warren, the Bears need to get one of those 8 safeties. Different pockets in the draft, but to me, those are the 8 safeties. And then if you want to add Caleb Downs in the mix, 9 safeties in the draft that I feel comfortable starting as rookies. You know, you get to the Michael Tafts of the world that he could start, but he's going to have some limitations, I think. There's some other guys on day 3 that, you know, could compete to be starters, but I think those 8 guys, good chance 5 or 6 of those guys start as rookies. So if you can get one of them to pair with Kobe Bryant, that would certainly be very, very nice. Okay, the playoff push is heating up and tournament hoops are here. Then there's no better way to cash in if you're right on the high-flying hoops action than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Every bucket, every time, and every win means so much more when you're playing on Prize Picks. And with their brand new Team Picks markets, you can now pick game winners, spreads, and totals on top of the player picks you already know. So cash in if you're right during all of the clutch buckets, slam dunks, and Cinderellas this spring with Team Picks on Prize Picks. I love making Team Picks on Prize Picks, and they don't just have individual games. If you click into Team Picks, you can even pick who's going to win the league, MVP, or other awards. Baseball just gets started too, so you can get involved over there. It's just another way to pick the sports you love, all on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Pick your first game winner, spread, or total as the playoff push rolls on, and get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup when you use our code CLNS. That's code CLNS to get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Okay, top center prospects, because Cronin also mentioned center. Connor Lew, Sam Hecht, those are probably the top 2 guys. Lew, I don't know, is the ideal scheme fit, so I would probably go Hecht over Lew. You got Jake Slaughter and Logan Jones. I think they're right in that next tier, and then you get to like the day 3 tier, the Pat Coogans of the world. You got a couple other guys, Brailsford from Alabama, who we talked about the other day. Interesting athletic profile, but those middle 3 to me are the guys I'm looking at: Sam Hecht, Jake Slaughter, and Logan Jones. Can one of those guys be available at 89? I think at least one of those guys is sitting there at 89. If they are, I'd be comfortable pulling the trigger there. If you can get one of those 5 players in the 4th round, even better. But 3rd round to me feels like the sweet spot. I could see a team or 2 taking one in the 2nd round. Maybe the Bears are one of those teams. I don't love doing that. I would wait for the 3rd round and hope one of those gets there. If you don't get a center in this draft, you don't. You don't have to force it. You've got Bradbury. Luke Newman was getting reps as a center last year. I think he could be the backup this year if you need him to be. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't force the issue. But if one of those guys is sitting there at 89, I do like that value in that range. Okay, Jordan Reed added on in this article, one of their draft analysts. Prospect to fill a need outside of round 1. Deny Dennis Sutton, a well-put-together edge rusher. Dennis Sutton is a versatile prospect who checks a lot of the boxes for a Dennis Allen-led defense. I think Jordan Reed will watch this show. His strength against the run and his traits as a pass rusher fit the scheme and provide a boost at a position of need. If you watch this show, you know I love me some Deny Dennis Sutton. He's one of my favorite edges on day 2. He might be my favorite edge on day 2 unless a surprise guy falls to the 2nd round. Look, I like guys as pass rushers that have been productive in college. He's been that. 17 sacks over the past 2 seasons. Pretty good. He's good against the run. He sets the edge. He's got a high athletic profile. I believe I'm also with these draft analysts when they say grade the player, not the helmet. I get that. But I do think sometimes trends are trends for a reason. Penn State defensive players, they typically translate. They have a lot of pass rushers they've pumped into the NFL. Like, I just kind of trust what they've built over the years and the guys they've pumped in. A lot of them have RAS scores that look like this, really athletic guys. I think he's a very high floor player, and I think his ceiling's pretty high too. Like, I don't know if he's going to be an all-pro, but like, I think he could be an 8 to 10 sack guy once he gets his career going, year 2, year 3, and beyond that. Is he ever a 15 sack guy? Probably not, but I think he'll be at worst a good rotation player and at best a quality starter and maybe even a little bit more. So you add him into the mix with Montez Sweat and Austin Booker, I think you can go to war with that top 3. It's not the best, but I think it raises your floor. And again, kind of crossing your fingers. Can one of Dio Adengbo or Shamar Turner, maybe a vet if they still want to sign one, give you a punch at edge, and then you hope your interior defensive lineman is just a solid rotation as well. I don't think that's going to be a high ceiling position this year, but if you can get contributions from 3 or 4 guys, that would certainly be nice. But I agree with Jordan Reed. I've said it. I think he fits the scheme well. Size, length, strength, ability to set the edge in the run game while also being productive as a pass rusher. That's what Dennis Allen covets. Like, sure, Cassius Howell is a fun, really good pass rusher, but he's undersized and he doesn't play the run. That's not what the Bears want. They want guys who can play on all 3 downs, and if that's sacrificing a little pass rush to be able to do that, that is what they would prefer. Some other day 2 edge rushers, I think Gabe Akis and Derek Moore are 2 other guys that would fit what DA is looking for. From a pass rushing standpoint, I like Malachi Lawrence. He's almost there on the size, 6'4", like 252. He typically, DA like 260 plus typically, but I think in the second round, I'd be okay with it. Also not very good against the run, though, so you'd be looking at more of like a NASCAR pass rusher type. Kieran Crawford, the other edge rusher, maybe third round is an intriguing option. I am not an LT Overton fan. He's pretty sluggish, but big, physical. He is good against the run. I guess I'd be okay with it in the third round, but certainly not in the second. I think it's too early. It just doesn't give you enough juice as a pass rusher. Guys after this, or that at least check enough DA boxes, are probably more day 3. Who's your favorite day 2 edge rusher? Who's someone on day 2 you'd like to see? And you could say R. Mason Thomas, but I don't think he fits the profile. Like, I don't think he's what the Bears are going to go for. So let me know down in the comment section below. My name is Harrison Graham. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are getting closer and closer to the NFL draft. Love this time of year. We're going to have it all covered here on this channel. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and we will see you guys soon. Bear down. All right, we are about to get out of here. Do we have any super chats to catch up on? If not, we will sign off shortly. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see if
what position when I come back, not next Monday, but 2 Mondays from now. I can get maybe 2 guys in one position. How about that?
Yeah.
So I'll obviously be doing 2.
That, or you could go 1 offense, 1 defense.
Maybe.
Any positions for draft crushes?
Again, we'll not be here next week. We're doing a little rotation here at Chat Sports, so you guys will be
If the Bears trade for Myles Garrett, Cullen will produce for me. Otherwise, if it's our normal live schedule, it'll probably be someone else. If you miss it, we're doing a little kind of rotation week. We're going to mix it up just for the week, so I'm curious about Olin's kid. He's probably a UDFA, Eric, but I could see them bringing him in after the draft. Kidda says, well, listen. Did you hear me?
Say that again?
Kidda said, well, listen.
Well, listen. Yeah, no, I said that earlier whenever I was you're late on that one.
It's not Producer Jack. You've never seen him on this show.
Yeah.
That's my only hint. So if you guys want to dig around other Chat Sports channels and try to guess, have at it. But you guys have never seen him on this show. Walter says, I only come for Collins. Well, you can tell them who you're working with next week if you guys want to keep up with Joey.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There
Joey. Which tragically, one of the channels.
Oh, that's right. I didn't
You
even
know
think
what?
about that.
We may actually – does he go live on Packers? He's working with our Packers host who
am.
also does our We may have to do something with that. Like maybe Cullen surprises Joey and
By the way, your chat is behind. I'm looking at where you are.
yeah, it's way behind. I'm an idiot. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, he has to work with our. That's pretty big. That's pretty brutal having to go to the other side. So
I know.
Joey's a good dude though.
He's a good dude.
So
yeah, I'm sure I'll be welcomed in with open arms.
Open arms over there. Yeah, we'll see. All right, that's what next week looks like. Nothing's changing though. We'll have the content for you guys. The producer
also says cornerback. All right, I'll do that.
Corner. I like that. I think that's a position that's definitely in play. All right, we're out of here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Go enjoy the Sweet 16. We'll be back in the studio tomorrow with more content. If breaking news drops, we'll, of course, hop back in here. But otherwise, we will see you guys with more videos tomorrow. He's Colin. I'm Harrison. Take care. Bear down.